trip?
No,
I
Corey
brought these from my house.
Oh, okay.
I made them.
Let me go fucking... It defaults to the last thing it was called, so this is probably going to say episode 32 or whatever. Isn't right.
Do you see my phone?
No. The answer is no.
Brian, can you pass me that Maker's Mark, dude?
Yeah. Let's finish the whole bottle.
Drive me home.
I have to drive myself home.
I'm on the way.
Every man to themselves.
Yeah, an Uber.
What is an Uber from here? Like fucking like $8 or something?
About 6.
That's fucking awesome, dude. That's a no-brainer.
That's not bad.
I would take that if I even like had like a beer or something.
No.
Me to Barbersville, not so pretty. I'll just fucking
No.
drive it.
I get it.
Just
So, hope for the best.
But like, from here to there, I'm still on the way. You drop me off at the park.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
It's fine.
Hey, Sarah, what's up?
I feel like I need a hat.
Yeah, you probably should get a hat, dude.
yeah.
Did
give
you
me
not
a
come back
hat.
with a cowboy
Give me
hat?
a
You're in
grab a
fucking
sombrero.
Texas, dude.
Sombrero.
like a sombrero.
Sombrero.
Yeah.
Because it's like right there at Mexico.
Right? That's the way I was. When I was in California, I was in San Diego, I could see Mexico across the border, and that shit freaked me out. Like, I could see the houses up on the, like, hillside, and I was like, wow, that's weird. Like, with binoculars, I could see into their rooms, basically, because they just had shacks, and I'm like, this is
You had
fucking
binoculars?
weird.
If you guys give me a hard time about saying little girls,
I have
and
no idea.
You were sitting in your hotel room with binoculars looking at Mexican.
Right, if you were there with those glasses, you could have told me everything in the living room, Corey.
I hate you.
Oh, you started it.
I don't know where it went.
I don't either. But we're live, so
Are we?
let's not worry about
Does
it.
this make up for it?
Wow.
No, nobody gets that yet.
That's just
Oh, is that
That is
I had a great trophy
Sweet.
last week, by the way.
I
Did
saw.
you see that?
Yeah.
Alright.
I was like, God damn it. I'm never there for the fun ones.
No, that was good, though.
It was a really fun episode, actually. It was really good.
Yeah, I watched a little over half of it.
Did you disagree with any winners?
No.
I mean, you can be honest, I don't care.
Not that I can recall anymore.
I thought it was all fair,
Yeah.
honestly.
You are streaming.
We are live.
We are live.
I think the world, Corey, really wanted to take that that military question from you, but it was just like, I was like not for it. I really thought that you won that question fair and square. I really did. Like,
I think I did too.
Yeah.
I think I had some really
Yeah.
valid points in that one.
They got arguing back and forth about I don't even know what, and it was just like, it wasn't making sense to me, so.
So welcome to Real Dumb. Doing another debate thing. We got Corey. We got Brian, who was host last episode. Good job holding it together while I was out of town.
Thanks.
And he also does a podcast called The Snappy Hour.
Yeah, check us out on Facebook. Just type The Snappy Hour, and we post memes and shit. Go like them. We'll make you laugh, probably. Like half the time at least.
It's pretty funny.
And this is a very impromptu debate. Normally we send out a list of questions, and each competitor picks one, and then the judge picks one. But today we just wrote down 3 questions apiece and pulled them out of a cup. And we have Emily, who's usually on Facts and Social. She's going to judge this one. And yeah, you're filled in.
Are we actually going to eat one of these hot pickles first?
Yep, eat a hot pickle.
Alright.
Can someone explain to the audience what the hot pickle situation is so they're not confused?
Corey would be best.
Because I don't actually know what I'm eating or where they came from, but
They came
nonetheless.
from Floyd's Market in Barbersville.
And it says Ghostly Gourmet, so is it ghost peppered
They're
pickle?
from Catlettsville.
It
They're
says
local.
Reaper on the other
Ah,
side.
Yeah.
shit. I better not. See, I'm going to, like, do that.
They're really not that bad, but
Yeah,
don't
just-
rub your eyes after.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I have contacts. It's like, I'm fucked tonight.
Don't
so-
rub your eyes afterwards.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
otherwise, they're really not that bad.
Okay, I'll take this.
They're really good. Like, it tastes good.
Okay, here you go.
I don't like pickles,
Lame.
but fuck it.
I love pickles. So, this was an obvious, like, buy for me.
All the heat is good.
It lasts for a little bit longer.
Good flavor.
Not bad. Like, it's really
Yeah, the heat
good,
is really good.
actually. And they're local too. Again, Catlettsburg is close. I mean, that's still local.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little bit of a slow burn though.
That's a burn.
Yep.
That's a burn.
It lasts a little
Oh
while.
yeah, I got a hiccup.
But it's not that bad.
I don't know. I don't like spice.
I'm the most sober,
Ah.
which means I'll lose.
It's possible. Give me another hit of that bourbon.
Goddamn soda.
Hang on. Not yet.
This is a good real dumb. Just pass around the bourbon. Hot pickles.
They are. And again, it lingers a while.
I've got the involuntary hiccups. I'm trying to make them.
Yep. But it's still not. It's not terrible. Like you're not in like pain.
No. I actually like this kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Judge, what is our first question?
First question is best movie involving drug dealing.
Who's going first, and how do we do this?
We'll just fucking start right here. Who cares? God, I went with Blow.
How do you want it, Judge? Do you want opening statement or just what we picked?
What you pick first and then opening statement.
What?
Or I guess opening statement.
Okay.
Okay, I went with Blow, starring Johnny Depp. The real life story of George Young.
I went with Scarface, which a lot of people don't know is a reboot of a 1954 film called Scarface. Al Pacino, bringing his A game.
Your charge is not really working. Can you plug it back into mine?
Everybody knows Scarface.
I appreciate the help. I'm sorry.
That does have a burn.
Oh yeah.
It gets a little bit lower. I think it's when vinegar mixes in.
Doesn't sit well with drinking.
Yeah, it's heartburn.
Yeah. It's good though.
I don't
What'd you
know.
pick?
I picked Requiem for a Dream because I think it's. I mean, yours were based on true stories, but I think these days, like this day and age, Requiem for a Dream seems more realistic as to what's happening right now in front of us. Honestly, it's sad and sucks.
Scarface
My phone charging?
is.
It's your case, dude. That's a
I
problem.
know, but is it charging? All right, that's fine.
So with Scarface, you have Tony Montana, who comes from nothing and drug deals his way up to being the madest man in his city. And I feel like that resonates with people today still. I mean, it has a sad end too. Requiem for a Dream.
It's just sad. Like, I mean, that's what, like, we're talking about drug dealing, and I'm like, both of
Chris, you're out, bro.
both of yours too are like kind of. Yours was more based on true story. Yours was loosely based on a true story too, actually. But it almost kind of glorifies the drug dealing, whereas mine actually kind of makes it what it is when you see drug dealing.
Yours is about drug using. Ours
They
is about
still
drug
deal it.
dealing. They do deal it because they
But
have to use it, but it's about using.
Why would you want to glorify like somebody making millions of dollars and being like a fucking kingpin for doing that industry?
It's not glorified.
I don't even care about
His
glorifying.
kind of
I don't
did.
care about glorifying
Whoa,
it.
did.
But the
Yours
question
kind
at
of
hand
did.
is,
He was
what's
a
the
fucking
best
king.
drug dealing movie? And in Requiem, it's a bunch of quick shots of,
Which was amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's some
Kinda
scenes
sound-
where they deal.
There's a
some
lot
drugs.
of them. There's a lot of them where
There-
they deal drugs, they
there's a
buy drugs,
few.
they cut drugs.
They
They got better.
It's mainly them using getting their own supply, and
It is, but they're getting it from somebody else. They have to go through all these
failing to
fuck-
get more.
because they have to go and they go through countless attempts to get more. Like every situation is worse.
Basketball Diaries.
Oh, that's the best drug movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it
Well,
It sounds like it's about basketball though.
probably
You never seen it?
steroids? I haven't.
Oh god,
Is
it's
it
the
like
best
Lloyd?
Leonardo DiCaprio movie ever.
Really?
It's like Leo, Mark Wahlberg.
Blow has Johnny Depp in it,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's bad.
He wasn't great in that. Yeah,
It also
either.
has
though.
Paul-
Actually, that might be my favorite Johnny Depp look. Is the ponytail, blow, drug dealing Johnny Depp. Everyone loves that version. You can shit on weird Johnny Depp these days. He's weird these days, but like that is like Johnny Depp's prime. The ponytail slicked back. I want to look like that. Actually, I don't want to deal with drugs and get arrested. But like, if I could like pick a look, even over like Brad Pitt Fight Club, I would be fucking Johnny Depp blow with the ponytail.
But I mean, like, why does that make it a better drug dealing?
Oh, I just want to say the fact.
I just still just both of yours actually. Like, what's so funny about it is like not funny, is
My whole movie's about dealing drugs, which is what the question is. I'm dealing drugs the whole movie.
So is mine.
And I'm also dealing multiple drugs. I started off with weed, and now I'm moving on to blow. The title of my movie is Drugs.
okay.
Mine has a guy getting chopped up and stuffed into a trash can.
For dealing drugs in Miami.
Yes.
Yeah, but it wasn't that well done. Mine was
No,
a
what
great
the
movie.
fuck? Scarface
Brian
isn't
De
that
Palma?
well done. Brian fucking De Palma. It's
Well,
his best
questionable.
fucking movie.
Yeah, that's his best
By
movie.
far.
Screen an
That
audience.
is.
Screen an audience these days, a modern audience, they're gonna choose Blow over these three movies. They're gonna be more entertained by Blow because it's the
Bullshit.
better
What
movie.
movie actually makes you
Scarface
feel something?
created
though,
a fucking
instead of-
icon. You can go anywhere, like, and find a Scarface fucking T-shirt.
You can, but what movie
A
actually?
kid will
And,
be
and
wearing
parodies,
it,
like they
they'll
had the
be selling it.
Simpsons ones and all that shit and stuff too.
Mhm.
I get it, but like, Requiem for a Dream was actually one of the first movies that I had never watched, and it actually made me feel something. Like I felt sick. I watched it twice in a row. I wasn't hungover. I didn't drink it this time. I just slept on the couch. Like they did. They curled up on the couch in the end, and it's like it makes you feel bad. It did its purpose.
Everything that you've described is about doing the drugs, and the question is about dealing the drugs. When
The
I
question
think
was
back,
the best movie about dealing drugs.
Yeah, and when I think back to Requiem, I'm trying to even think of spots where they're physically dealing the
They-
drugs because my whole visions of it is just the sucking
All
of
of
the
it.
pills and everything.
Right.
It's
but
all about doing, not dealing.
they went. The reason that like Jared Leto and Marlon Wayans got caught is because they were going to Florida to get more drugs to sell because they did take all their stash.
Can you refer to him as Joker of Suicide Squad?
Joker of Suicide Squad. It wasn't Joaquin Phoenix though. I know his name this week and last week. Sorry, real dog. But
And the first Betty Ross.
and the first Betty Ross. It's fine. Anyway, they were going down to Florida to pick up more drugs so they could sell them. And that's where they got caught, and his arm was so fucked up, and they had to chop it off. And like, it has so many of those sequences too, like that are just. It's very hard to even describe it, like with the music that they do.
I'm no longer hiccuping from the ghost pickle.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you guys can eat my
That's
shit.
your new chat
It's-
name.
if you're gonna talk to me though, if you're gonna try to like break me down and say like my movie's not a good movie for that question because they don't deal enough drugs in it, the whole movie is based around dealing drugs.
Emily, are you ready for closing
Yes, I was
arguments?
about to say.
Okay, I'll start. Because it just seems like I should start. Corey's movie is one of my all-time favorite movies. I own it. I've watched it a billion times. But it's a movie, a really fucking cool movie, by the way, about doing drugs. That's really it. And you know what? Before anyone tries to rebuttal or anything, if you just pull it back and you poll an audience and you say, what was this movie about? They would say, a fucking crazy movie about doing drugs and their crazy lifestyle. Probably 8 out of 10 people would say that. Maybe 1 out of 10 is going to go, it's a movie about dealing drugs. I don't know that. Okay, the question is, what's the best movie about dealing drugs? The best movie is Blow, because not only is it a great movie, not only is the movie revolved around dealing the drugs. He starts with marijuana. He gets arrested. He moves on to Blow. We all know how the story goes. It's epic Johnny Depp. It's Johnny Depp in his prime. It's Johnny Depp when he looks the best. But it's also a real life story about George Young, a guy who just got out of prison recently, who's written 2 books now over it, about the real life story of how Blow came into America, an actual drug issue that came into America. He spells it out for you. You see it in the movie Blow. Yeah, they do it. You see the consequences of them doing it. You see where it leads you, but you also see this dealer through the process of learning through a prison. He learns how to deal the drugs. He says himself in the movie, he starts out with a bachelor's in marijuana and ends with a master's in cocaine, a doctorate in cocaine. He shows you how he came from nothing, how he learned about the drugs, how he learned how to deal the drugs, who he learned to get them to. He learned how to fly them in on single-engine Cessnas and how to smuggle them into the United States and learn how to make connects. So this movie shows you the raw story of a fucked up childhood that leads to making connects, that leads to making drugs or dealing drugs on a small time, then getting caught dealing drugs on a big scale. And then most importantly, the most important fact about this whole thing is making you fall in love with this character who is actually a fucked up son of a bitch. And you fall in love with him and the fact that he has a daughter, Christina Sunshine Young, in the movie. And it's still to this day one of the only movies that still chokes me up at the end when you see like the ghost of her come in, because this guy has never seen his daughter because he's such a piece of shit, all because of drug dealing. It's a real true story about actually dealing the drugs. Blow with Johnny Depp.
Alright, I'm sorry that Tony Montana didn't get caught until the end. But that's because he was a great fucking drug dealer and crime lord. And Scarface can go blow for blow in the blow from Blow.
That hurts, man.
Yeah, that actually. I'm not that like crafty with my words.
It's a great fucking movie. It pretty much inspired the drug genre, like subgenre. Blow wouldn't have the viewership if it weren't for Scarface putting that foot in the door for stories revolving around drugs and stuff like that. It's a great fucking crime / drug movie. Al Pacino's performance is fucking second to none in this movie. It is great. The directing is great. And the overall story of a man coming from nothing, building a drug empire via dealing drugs, and then getting too big for his britches and over his head, and that leading to his downfall, is much more interesting to me than an estranged daughter and bad shit happening to bad people for 2 hours. To me, it is the best drug dealing movie of all time. If you haven't seen any of these movies, go watch them. But
They're all pretty good.
finish with Scarface because it's the best one, and you don't want to blow your load too early.
So what you're saying is like someone that is trying to. Both of you guys are like them selling drugs. Yeah, court, like take that thing out. It's fine. Screw top, it's fine. But instead of a cork, that's how you know it's a inferior bourbon. We should have had a bourbon debate. But anyway, what you guys are talking about, like them trying to rise from, doing whatever, like they're shitty and they want to be rich for selling drugs. They did the same thing in Requiem for a Dream. That was what they were trying to do. and you say there's not enough drug dealing in it, like that, the entire movie was about that. Like, he sold his mom's TV so they could buy drugs, so they could sell them, so they could make Jennifer Connelly. She was trying to be a designer of dresses. She went and like had this weird fuck scene at the end, where she was trying to make money to buy more drugs. I'm just saying, like, it's depraved, it's horrible, and it actually makes you feel something. Scarface was just kind of like a shoot 'em up drug movie that is entertaining, but it's more like an action movie about something that, whatever. It's okay. I don't watch it all the time. I don't watch Requiem for a Dream all the time because it actually makes me feel, it feels realistic. And I know that you said the kind of thing when the eyes go, but you know what I'm talking about. And it is weird.
Plus 10 viewers.
But that movie is so. That was the first movie that I saw that actually made me feel something from a movie. It's never been in one, but you know what I mean. It was realistic. It was creepy. They had really good performances out of all the actors, which yours really didn't. Like Al Pacino, it's probably one of his not best ones. He was okay, not great. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it.
Okay, so Corey, you're out of it. Pretty much like, for me, like, what it sounds like, that is like, you know, the best movie involving crackheads.
They're on heroin.
So okay,
Mostly.
yeah, exactly.
The mom gets put on like diet pills because she's old. And shit.
Yeah, we
So it's gonna be between Brian and Matt. Honestly, Matt, I feel like you didn't do the best job justifying Scarface. Like I don't know. It's just blow. You know, like I guess whenever I picture like the best drug movie, I instantly already think of Blow. Like, yeah, it's got Johnny Depp in it. He looks really good with long hair. Brian did have a really good valid point there. It's just, you know, he looks good. He looks good. You know, he does
Blow
start
gets the
out from
point,
weed
'cause
to
Johnny
like
Depp looks
cocaine,
out of it.
and that's just
You get
like,
the
you know, like
point.
the average
Or else it
process
gets
to
the
me.
pen
And
again.
then
And
I don't know,
Thank
like
you.
when I think
really,
of
Scarface
You had
isn't
two good.
that great.
You had two, actually you had three. These answers were fucking epic, by the way. For us to come up with these in like 30 seconds, those
Yeah.
were epic answers. Just FYI.
And I'm
It
just
was
saying,
fun.
like, Scarface really.
All I
isn't
could picture
that
was you
great
fucking your
of a
bed to that
movie.
Jennifer Connelly scene. I mean, that's what you were basically saying, right? You fucked your bed to that double dildo scene.
It just makes
Your first experience with yourself was during the ass to
It
ass.
wasn't that. It was just like that. The end scene, like the doo 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 doo.
Pretty
It just
epic
that
score,
like
you're
that
right
like
about that.
it makes
Epic
you
score.
it just makes you feel bad. Like that last scene with him getting his arm cut off and shit. Like it just makes you feel like this movie did not have a good ending
Dude, if
for
that,
anybody.
if
Like,
that song was playing right now, I would get like the chills. Like that's how good that shit. I fucking love Requiem, by the way.
Yeah.
I love all
it's a
three of
great
those
movie.
movies.
It's a great movie.
Yeah,
I'm
all
just
three of
saying,
these
like,
are great.
I just Scarface. I don't think is really that good. It's okay. I like it, but not as good as like the other mobster
Well,
movies.
it's
To
like
be
an all-time
fair,
epic. It's an all-time epic film.
It is, and it's entertaining
I
enough
was
to watch.
figured out the dialogue boxes.
It was a great answer.
And that's fine.
It's a
I'm
great
just saying
answer.
it's not like
I was
how-
worried
how some people
when you
put
said
that-
Scarface. I was like, fuck.
but
Because I wrote that question
how
for the
some people
movie.
put that
I
movie,
wrote it. That
how
was
some
mine.
people put that
Before
up
the
on
band.
like a pedestal as like being the best movie ever. It's like it's not really. It's okay. It's entertaining enough, but it's not great.
Believe it or not, dude, I had not seen Scarface until like I think it was like I don't know 7 years ago or something.
Oh wow.
Really?
For the first time ever, and my girlfriend at the time was like, that was her favorite movie, so I was like, well, fuck yeah, I'll pop it in. And she popped in, and I was thinking, like, I'm not gonna like this because it's like old, and I'm not really a fan of like older films, and I was like, shit, this is fucking great.
Well,
Good, but
I was gonna ask if you'd seen the 54 one,
I have not seen the 54.
but saying that you're not a fan of old films.
yeah,
if
I'm not a fan of old.
you struggled with 80,
Yeah,
54
Yeah.
is
How are you not a fan of?
See what? There you go again. I'm gonna keep pointing it out.
I'm
You know
not.
what I
I'm
mean?
not.
It's a
Gonna,
character-
I'm not trying to
It's
be
a
a dick.
personality trait.
I'm just saying, like, you should watch some old stuff, even if it's not like. Do you not like black and white?
And you should stick 2 ghost pickles up your nostrils.
I'm asking you this as like a general question. Like,
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob's a great movie.
we're the same age. You're actually older than us, a little bit, just a little bit.
So what's the question?
So go back, like you don't have to watch black and white. I understand why some of the silent films in black and white is boring to some people. Watch some fucking Hitchcock or something. Like watch some.
I've watched some Hitchcock.
Psycho's
Rear
great.
Window is one of my
Rear
favorite
Window's
movies.
good.
So you guys
Vertigo,
love it.
Birds, yeah.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Like watch some stuff like that.
Corey's doing that thing.
Okay, so the next
not-
question is, who is the master of horror?
John Carpenter, hands down. The man covers every fucking subgenre of horror that there is, and yeah, second to none.
So I go
On
next.
Rival.
And what Stephen King, just because even though the shit that he directs himself sucks, but he's inspired so many classic horror movies that even not horror movies, some of them are some of the best movies. Get the fuck down, Fleabag. Oh, sorry. I love you, Dio. This is gonna be terrible on camera.
Fucking reported.
No, but Stephen King has at least written the books that so many of these movies have been inspired of. You have It that's coming out, that is out.
Oh, it's up.
Yeah, it's out.
Downstream.
Shining, all that kind of stuff. He's just done so much with his books that people from film want to make movies from the books, like more than anybody else here, actually.
I went with Wes Craven. He made Robert Englund.
You did use that, you motherfucker.
Oh, I wrote it instantly.
I saw you doing it. I just thought it was a joke.
No, it's real. He made Robert Englund. Wes Craven. Alright, debate.
Fucking no. Stephen King, no. He's a good author, sure. His books don't translate well to film. All of the fucking great Stephen King inspired things,
Are
he
done by
has
better
issue.
directors.
He has issue
He
with the
does.
movie because they change it
But he
so
still
much.
inspired it, is the thing. So you said Master of Horror, like it was still inspired by him. Whether or not he agrees with how the turnout came, he still inspired them to make this movie. They made it better than the book, sure. I'm not saying his books are good, but I'm saying like as far as
Kubrick would have been a better pick.
But you should
No,
say
I-
Stephen King's books are good, and he was a great novelist. But does that make him the master of horror,
Yeah,
the best of all?
actually,
I don't know.
yes.
In a movie debate, no.
I think so, because there have been more movies made about his books than anything else.
Half of them are shit.
They are, but half of them aren't.
A
And he's got
quarter.
like a ton more than
A-
your director or your
A
director
quarter
combined.
of them are fine, and a quarter of them
Some
are
of them
great.
are amazing.
And those are the ones that they change so much that it's just a
It doesn't,
bastardization.
because
of
it was
his work.
still inspired by, though. Like that's what I'm
So-
saying. Like you say, a master of horror. I'm just saying, like the whole thing, how many movies this encompasses, and you're gonna say
Name 3 great Stephen King movies.
that he directed, because I won't do that. But I will say The Shining, The Green
I
Mile,
won't do that.
Stand By Me, and
Green Mile is not horror.
it's not, but it's a great movie.
The Horrors of
that's,
Being in Jail.
you have to redirect your question though, because that's not what
Name
you asked
3
me.
great horror movies.
Christine,
Shit.
The Shining.
We're already done here.
I'm just saying. I think he
Wes
inspired. He inspires a lot more. I mean, we can throw that in there.
Wes Craven's nickname is actually Master of Horror.
It's a misnomer.
Yeah.
It's an actual nickname. Google it.
Nah.
He created Freddy. Freddy's good.
He's great.
No.
Freddy's
He's-
great.
He just says bitch a lot, like in
He
the
does.
second one, and it was kind of like a hokey kind of horror movie.
Freddy haunted everyone's nightmares, brought to you by Wes Craven.
But it was kind of almost like a jokey teen horror movie. Like, you had the shit like Jason, and you had like the ones that were like serious horror
Michael
movies.
Myers, John Carpenter, Halloween. Not the shitty ones, mind you. He distanced himself after 3. It was supposed to be an anthology series. He did Halloween, and then everybody wanted Michael back, so he did Halloween 2, and then everybody wanted Michael back, but he did Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which is about this company trying to take over the world via masks that midnight on Halloween they shoot a laser into your brain and kill you. People didn't like that because they didn't get Michael Myers. But now that time has passed, it's the second best Halloween movie. You have The Fog, which is great. You have They Live, which is not supernatural, science horror. You have The Thing, which is science fiction horror. The fucking Thing, Halloween, The Fog.
Those were written by Stephen King too. The Fog at least was
The Thing was a
Stephen
remake
King.
of The Thing from Another World, which came out in the 50s. It was like one of those 50s.
The Fog was Stephen King though,
You're thinking of The Mist.
maybe, but I think The Fog was too. I might be wrong.
Michael Myers is canceled out with Freddy Krueger. They're the same. We're talking about the same kind of iconic horror character. When you start thinking about Halloween movies, that's going to be your first two answers. So,
I just literally think that Stephen King, again, has inspired more horror movies than either of your guys had created them. It's like some of these directors will take a Stephen King book and adapt it. Yeah, it's a lot better than the book. But he's got so many that they do that's why he is more of a master of horror than just doing like one character, like John Carpenter or your guy doing Freddy and stuff. It's like
Wes Craven essentially does just do one character. There are
people take many different
8
directors
Nightmare on Elm
and
Streets
take like so many different
that
routes
Wes Craven is
and
involved
can either
with.
make good movies or bad movies with material from Stephen King. He's got so much of it out there that's why I think he's a master of horror. Again,
I believe my guy is the oldest on the board of all 3, which means
he's dead.
They drew inspiration,
and
and his nickname was literally Master of Horror.
Halloween came out in 1978.
that doesn't mean you win.
Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984.
Shit, we have a Stephen King shit that was probably
Friday
like
the 13th
70s.
Came out in 1981. Texas Chainsaw Massacre was 74. It's a proto-slasher. Halloween created the slasher genre. Nightmare on Elm Street is a slasher. Halloween created Nightmare on Elm Street.
I don't think any of that's going to help your argument. You just confuse us all with a lot of dates.
No, but I think it will help some arguments, though.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is this going to be closing?
Sure. Nightmare on Elm Street is a fine supernatural horror film in the slasher subgenre. Wes Craven pretty much just has Freddy and a little bit of Scream, which is pretty much just a satirization of his work before him. So, he's satirizing himself in his elder years, whereas John Carpenter is still going strong. He's come out with, going as far back as Halloween in 78, and then The Ward in like 2013. Cigarette Burns, which was part of the Masters of Horror collection, and is I think the best made in that collection, which Toby Hooper, Wes Craven, etc. Contributed to this miniseries on Showtime of short films. Well, they're over 60 minutes, so they're feature. But Cigarette Burns was great. The Ward is great. He's still going strong. Even like his lesser works, like Vampires, are still remembered fondly. It's like when John Carpenter fails, it's still a B. When Wes Craven fails, it's a D. And when Stephen King fails, it's F minus, 0, fucking incomplete. Stephen King,
The debate happened.
yeah,
We're doing it
Stephen
now.
King's a good author, but his contribution to film is pretty much inspiring people better than him to bastardize his work and take everything that was Stephen King away from it and making it their own. Whereas John Carpenter has original ideas consistently and throughout 4 decades now.
I feel like, and I could be wrong, either one of your 2 directors have probably produced or directed a Stephen King film. I don't know if that's true, but I think maybe.
I don't know if that's true of either.
But I guess that's where I'm actually coming from. Is like Stephen King himself, yeah, his books suck. I don't even read books. I haven't read one of his.
Glad you
But-
picked an author.
But so many of his books have inspired other directors, artists, whatever, to make movies about his books and make them better than what they were. I'll agree with that. But he's had, like, if you're saying the master of horror, you're saying John Carpenter, you're saying Wes Craven. If you look at credits on IMDb for horror movies, Stephen King probably has the most, just as being like, I wrote this shit first. They took it and changed it into whatever else. He's got some really great ones too. Probably the most. So if you're going to say master of horror, it's like, he's got some really good ones too. And if you're going to say like Green Mile and Stand By... I do. If you're... Don't... I'm trying to debate, damn it. If you're gonna say like The Green Mile is not a horror movie either, or The Shawshank Redemption isn't, those are both fucking horrifying movies. Okay, so Shawshank Redemption starts out with Shawshank Redemption starts out with your wife
Red was
banging another girl, and then you're locked in jail for a thing you didn't do forever. You escape. Same with The Green Mile. Stand By Me. Talk about a horror movie. It's like, that'd be like me coming up to you when we were 6 and we're like, hey man, you want to go see a dead body? That's fucking horrifying. He's had a shit ton of other, we're talking about The Shining, It, all the other stuff. I think they're doing a reboot of Christine. They tried with Cujo, Pet Sematary. They have done everything that he's done. They're remaking to make better movies. And honestly, I didn't see Pet Sematary. It was good. It was. It's just, it's an iconic thing, whether or not you like his books. But the movies that are created out of how many books, because I think all he does is like sit in like a porta potty and like write a bunch of this shit. And that's fine. But the movies that come out of it are way better than what he wrote in the books. And I think that's why he's a master of horror. He's had so many more decent ones adapted than anybody else, probably. I honestly probably. Dang. Anyway, rip me apart.
Yeah, I will. I will start with you. The fact that we just talked about who is the master of horror, and Corey shot us an answer that involved Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile.
Stephen King.
The internet just blew up. Had we have viewers, they blew the fuck up right now.
We have 3.
We have a few, yeah.
Who?
Well,
Who's
me
talking?
and you being 2.
Your opinions matter.
I don't know if it counts for me where I'm on the account.
Oh,
Back to Master of Horror.
2.
That does not make Stephen King the master of horror. Yes, he wrote multiple scary novels, but at the end of the day, he was probably inspired by both of our directors on many different accounts, and not to mention the argument, like I said, was subpar. We're talking about Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. That makes no sense. So, moving on to John Carpenter. Yeah, it's a great argument. You've got your Halloween movies. Of course, someone's going to choose this as who is the master of horror. But Carpenter, as Matt alluded to earlier, was inspired by Wes Craven actually on multiple occasions, including the mini films, which involved both of them writing and producing those. Wes Craven is the OG. He is the master of horror. He's the creator of Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund. He's the creator of Ghostface, Scream. And whether you think Scream is cliche or goofy or anything like that, it doesn't matter. It goes down now as just one of the slashers from the 90s. It's an iconic film. It doesn't matter what we think of the movie Scream. So, of course, we give Wes Craven all the credit for Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, 1984, and all the other Freddys that followed that. Of course, Wes Craven gave us one of the most, one of the greatest all-time horror characters, which is Freddy Krueger, a man who haunts you in your nightmares. We all grew up with that. It scared the fuck out of us. He even came up with things like Swamp Thing, a fucking scary creature coming out of the swamp, out of the mud. Wes Craven is the OG that combined horror cliches with comedy and slashing, a la Scream, a la Nightmare on Elm Street, and even gave us things like Swamp Thing in his fucking spare time. Wes Craven definitely inspired directors like John Carpenter, which we're about to hear the argument about. If not for Wes Craven, I'm not sure how much of these slashers, horror films, would even exist. Google the phrase master of horror, you're going to come up with Wes Craven as the best.
Okay,
You closing?
so
Yeah.
Is that our last clue?
No, one more.
I think we're
No,
no, I think
I went
that
first.
yeah,
Oh,
that
sorry,
was it.
that was done. I
Uh,
blacked out.
so again, Corey, I'm sorry. Like,
I mean,
I
just
do
say that
agree
earlier,
with
Brandon.
both Matt and Brian. If this was for books and authors, then maybe Stephen King. Brian, I'm sorry. I feel like Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers. It stands out more to me. When I think of horror, like that's instantly kind of what I think of. So I'm gonna have to go with Matt on this one.
Also 78. Is
What was your
before
choice, Matt?
84. John Carpenter, man.
Oh, okay.
I picked Stephen King.
So I can't believe none of you fuckers have seen Basketball Diaries, though.
Yeah.
I'm still saying it's Junji Ito, even though there's no movies.
Yeah. We have Brittany Linkus said, if this isn't about Tom Cruise, then I don't care. Also, Brian looks like he is trying to do a crossword puzzle on the back of a trash box.
Accurate. That's accurate.
And then Scream is awesome. And Colin, who is in the room with us, says it's Junji Ito.
What's you doing there,
guys.
bub?
What?
What's he doing there?
Trying to clock.
Brian, can you give him a backpack?
Dude, it's your case that's the problem.
I'm not. My phone's over here.
Am I
I'm
on
not
speed right
asking
now?
for
Can
that.
You see me?
I was
Wow.
cigarettes.
Do you want
I need a pee
to be able
break.
to see? Do you want to sit right here?
Just a quick Chris commercial break.
Happy hour. Snappy hour.
The
sorry.
snappy hour.
I'm sorry.
Every hour's happy hour on the snappy hour.
It's a pretty good show. You guys should watch it.
Yes.
Oh shit, y'all drinking whiskey?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Why are you taking it to the bathroom?
I'm gonna pee in and then.
Why
Are
does
you gonna butt chug it?
question 3 pop up like this?
Oh, because I couldn't figure out the fucking formatting because I'm drinking whiskey and I was trying to answer questions.
Okay, so just leave it like that? That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine. It's all fine.
Just put mine as like a sad face emoji. It'll be fine.
What are you trying to do? Oh, okay. I see you.
So we have 3 viewers. Oh, Brittany said, "Whoa, Brian is showing thigh."
Dying to show and Bry.
Yeah, fucking Basketball Diaries. It's a great drug movie.
DiCaprio, right?
Mark Wahlberg.
How many questions in are we?
2.
Okay. And what's the score?
0, 1,
0.
1.
Color me surprised.
And the next question is, who wants to loan me $15?
I left my card in Texas.
What? Really?
Yes.
Good job.
That sucks
What do you
ass.
need
Cancel it already?
Are you gonna have it mailed back or just get a new one?
I'm just gonna get a new one. It's cracking anyway.
So you might want to cancel that.
For how
What do
long?
you need $15?
I don't. I was just dicking around.
Oh, okay. Because I could like.
The first one to pull out $15 got the point, and none of them did.
Okay, because I could dick around some $15.
I feel like I have a legitimate excuse.
I think I had $8.
Now, if you want to make the trip to Texas
Have
for
card.
$15, I will write that sitcom.
My card is 7 hours away because
I thought you were about to start reading the
does
number.
not.
Where'd you leave it?
Some bar. I have an open tab at some bar in Texas.
Wait for Texas Matt Lasley to walk up. It's just you with a 10-gallon hat and boots. And he's like, I'm here to reclaim my card. And also, give me $200 worth of whiskey.
Did Brian bring the whiskey?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, how'd you get that back on the plane?
Who's drinking the
Oh, I had a checked bag. I could have brought some.
White
back.
Claw? It ain't White Claw, but it's
It's a Bon and Viv.
I'm gonna have to. Oh, I hear ice.
I like it.
I think I can pee
tastes
while he
like
gets
nothing.
ice.
I like ice. Whiskey. I like whiskey and ice. Hey, Brian.
I wish I had time to walk to the store.
Can after. It's pretty early.
I have to head home after this. I was supposed to leave at 10.
Oh, so it's gonna be a while.
I know it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be like 1 a.m. I'm gonna go in and get bitched at.
By who?
Steve?
Boyfriend?
Yeah.
Why aren't you bitch?
Cause I mean I work tomorrow. He works tomorrow. I'm drinking. I
You're
want to
not
home.
supposed to?
Did I not tell you about my last time I came here and drank heavily? I'm not drink heavily, but
Every time I see you, I drink.
I know you drink heavily every time.
Yeah, so like,
Dog.
yeah, most of the real conversation is
I
like
really
sometimes I
Don't feel like I got that fucked up, but like it took me 6 hours to walk home after I left here, but I stopped by a friend's house first. And I feel like it's best I don't drink most nights. Or at least not every
understandable.
Saturday. But I hope no one's on this right now. This is gonna be the longest fucking running debate.
There was one that was almost like 5 hours.
What?
Early on, before you even were like a person to us, there was one that was 4.5 hours long, I believe.
What the fuck?
That was before I even started like showing up. I don't know who judged it. I think it was Kyle. Are we still on?
Yep.
I think it was Kyle. I think I could be wrong. But yeah, there was
I could
one that
already
was
been
like
to
4.5
Marathon and
hours
back.
long.
I could have already been to Marathon and back.
longest real dumb that we've had? And who
The
was
one
judge?
Kyle judged,
Was it
where
Kyle?
he forgot
Okay, I
the
wasn't
speed
wrong.
round was timed, and it was
Turned it
4
to-
hours
it was-
long.
it was-
Welcome to the
It was
slow
no,
world.
literally
no,
4
it was-
hours long.
It, 4 and
Is
a
that
half.
mine?
Yeah.
4.5 hours long, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, it was very long.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd the bottle go?
In my hand.
Colin has the rest. Unless you want like one last shot, he's got the
Yeah, I
rest.
kind of want to like a swig of it.
Okay.
Corey wants one last shot.
I'll say something.
You don't have to. I have a box of wine. It's fine.
Okay, so worst trilogy.
Worst trilogy.
I chose R. Kelly
Well,
sex tapes. I'm just
Corey.
kidding.
Is it to me?
Yeah.
I picked The Matrix. Because the first one was so fucking awesome. Blew your mind back when that movie came out. And then like the second two. I mean that's technically
You're
right.
off to a great start.
You know what? Fuck you guys.
Great soap.
Second one was okay.
Hotel soap.
The third one.
Yeah, you're right.
The third one was awful. Like, I can't think of how many movies that I've only watched once, especially as part of a trilogy like that. I've watched The Matrix Reloaded, like, a bunch of times, just because it had some cool action shit in it. But by the time they got to the third one, it sucked. It was, like...
It's kind of like your opening statement. By the time you've gotten to the end of it, it's.
You know what? Fuck off. Go ahead with yours. This is gonna get real bad in the next question.
I chose Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, because it put me to sleep. It put me to sleep.
You picked the wrong one, the wrong trilogy.
I chose the Star Wars prequel trilogy because, my God, it does not start strong and it ends with a resounding no. And it's awful. Nothing about it is good. Any good thing ruins itself in and of itself. It's ridiculous. It's like Darth Maul,
I
he's
didn't
cool,
do that much of a
but
swig, but sure.
oh, he's dead now, and we got Christopher Lee, who's great, but he's underutilized as Count Dooku. And then, oh, Yoda is actually in action,
And I'm done with that.
but he uses a lightsaber. He's a little Muppet, CG Muppet with a lightsaber. Like, Yoda should be using force shit and not fighting with a fucking lightsaber. Like, it undercuts everything. Emperor Palpatine in fucking episode 6 is like, lightsaber, the tools of a Jedi. And then in fucking episode 3, he's fighting Yoda with a lightsaber.
I thought this
stupid.
was just your opening statement.
Oh, I'm just going.
I think
can
we're in.
interrupt at any
We're in.
time.
For one, Ryan, you have to keep your mouth shut because, for one,
I don't even know if you can complete a sentence, so go.
Lord of the Rings was one of the best trilogies ever made, actually.
Yes.
It was fantastic.
It actually
So-
won 5 weeks ago.
You picked the
Best
wrong
trilogy.
trilogy.
Doesn't matter.
Yours-
Doesn't matter what happened 5 weeks ago. Star Wars is awesome.
How?
Yoda, he's one of the all-time iconic characters. Star Wars is amazing. Every time Star Wars comes out, it fucking sells out. People dress up. It goes crazy.
But
Star Wars
it
is
doesn't
iconic.
have anything to do with that particular trilogy. I think a trilogy that is iconic is
Like,
the Matrix came out and was awesome.
The Matrix is awesome also. I'm watching
Terrible.
the trilogy right
No,
now.
the third movie is one of the
no, I would
worst
totally
movies.
watch.
One of the
It's a
worst
live
movies.
action
that-
anime.
guys
If
are
you're not into anime, of course
It's-
you don't like the
It's
third
so
best trilogy.
it's so bad.
Worst
though.
trilogy.
Oh wait, never mind.
Like the CGI didn't hold up at all with any of those movies.
It's a product of the time. It doesn't
It's
in
not
fucking
a product.
episode
It's-
1,
it's-
2, or 3.
What
It's
were your
not a
answers?
product of the time. And
Lord of the Rings.
the third one had nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
real.
Lord of the Rings kind of sucks though, but like I'm not here.
Right, thank you. Sucks.
Get out.
I think most trilogies suck.
Star Wars prequels, Matrix.
You picked the best trilogy.
I would watch that one over and over and over. The Matrix
Would
is
you
awesome.
watch the third one though?
You know what I wouldn't
Star
watch out of
Wars,
all
I
these?
think
The
I
Lord
do.
of the Rings. I wouldn't watch that one.
Would you watch the third Matrix? How many
Most
times
likely to
have you
fall asleep. Lord of the Rings.
I'm asking you a general question as a friend. We played kickball together.
Yeah, ask me.
We have kids. Would you watch the third one?
I would.
Yeah, I would watch it.
I like the third one more than the second one.
I think that's bullshit. I think you're both lying. I think both of you
No,
are better liars.
Chris is here. He's heard me talk about
You think
it.
the third one's better or
What?
Matrix?
Matrix?
Anyway,
I think it's awful.
I
we're
think the Animatrix.
getting
is
too
the
much
best.
outside.
I agree with
interference.
you too, but that is
I don't think any got on.
So, Star Wars came out. We got the last one in '83, Return of the Jedi, and then a couple decades later, it's like, oh, we're getting a new Star Wars
and
film,
they suck.
and everyone was excited until they saw it.
I don't know why anybody like Jar Jar Binks was like a fucking.
Caricature?
He was
He was awful.
That was one of the most like best produced like animated things at the time. At the time,
At the
in
time,
1999,
How?
he looked like a real thing. You're like, as a kid, and you saw that shit. I saw that movie like 3 times. I'm like, I kind of hate Jar Jar Binks, but how they make this motherfucker look real? He
He
did.
was a guy in a
It was
suit.
great.
Promotional.
Shut up! You can't. You're not
Sorry.
in this debate.
I keep forgetting you're debating and not just.
I know we are though.
Fucking.
But no, it at the time.
Me some more
At-
real.
You shut up too, Colin. At the
See,
time,
people quote
at
Star
the
Wars. They
time,
love Star Wars. Star Wars is fucking cool.
They
and you know what's
quote
even?
it ironically.
It had amazing CGI at that time. Like that pod racing scene is still fucking awesome.
Have you ever seen something as beloved as Star Wars get more of it, and
Only you.
people are like, oh, I guess I didn't want more of that.
I'm just saying, like,
I think that's a false statement. People still
what
enjoyed
was
it.
your trilogy again? Lord of the Rings. Oh yeah, that movie that was amazing.
Do you have any facts to back that up, or are you just gonna look at me and say the word amazing?
It won like a bunch of Academy
It
Awards.
won like every Academy Award for the
Yeah.
third one.
What awards did your trilogies win? You're telling me neither one of yours won any
I
Academy
think mine got
Awards?
visual
Possibly
effects.
visual effects.
So now we're sliding in possibly on the awards. They all 3 won awards. They're all
Yours
3
got
I'm just
best
saying, like, yours
picture,
was
best
amazing.
picture,
Like,
best
yours-
director.
Yeah,
It is.
Peter Jackson.
I don't know
too,
that
was-
that's a fact.
I think you did.
I do.
Yeah, I'm pretty
It's-
sure you got best director.
It's phenomenal.
You
Yeah,
know
it's
what?
a great movie.
You know what?
It's
a
a
great
great
trilogy.
trilogy.
Do you know what got most likely for me to
I don't
fall
know.
asleep in
Spider-Man
theater?
2?
Lord of the Rings.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I went there and saw every one of them when they came out, like
I got the extended editions
a
on
year,
fucking DVD.
What did they-
as they
a
came
month
out.
after. Like, how did they do that?
Out of all 3 of these trilogies, Lord of the Rings has the cheesiest backgrounds of all of them.
Out of
Cheesiest.
Out of all,
Clearly.
out
Wait,
of all of
The
these
backdrops.
movies, Lord of the Rings
Fake.
is the best.
everything in
movie
the prequel trilogy
in
is
them.
fake.
Yeah,
As far
and this
as
is
that
the
goes-
worst one.
Everything.
The worst one's the one I'm talking about.
Even Samuel Jackson's
so, like,
fake.
That
I
ain't
know
him.
you're gonna hate
That's
it
a
because
fake.
because you like fucking Keanu. But like,
Keanu
I
has-
mean,
why do I like Keanu? The fucking Matrix.
right? But he was not a good. Oh,
No, he was
Whoa.
great for that
No.
part. For that part.
He was made for that part. He made
was.
it. He's.
It's what made him
It's what
John
made him.
Wick
He's
today.
he's beloved
I don't know.
because of this.
I think it was a trilogy that
It's the
would have been
coolest of the
cool,
3.
and
That's for
then-
sure.
oh,
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I would. It's most likely for all of us to pop it in right now. That one, The Matrix. We would all pop that one.
you have 3 great ones. You have 1 great one, 1 decent one, and 1 bad one.
I
And
wouldn't watch yours. I wouldn't watch
I'm-
his at all.
I'm
yours
saying-
are great.
I'm saying the third one is the good one. and the second one is the bad one.
I love the second one.
Second what?
There you go. It can't be the worst trilogy if you love two of them.
Eat my shit.
I hate all three of mine. Fucking
Same. I hate all three of mine.
Phantom Menace.
Ow!
I fell asleep. I don't know how else you want me to say it. What do you mean how?
Phantom Menace came out and was a huge disappointment. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna give this another shot. And then we got
God,
Attack of the
shit.
fucking Clones. It's like, how do you make?
It was so
That's
much better.
worse.
It was so much better.
Fuck you! It was no, it
Fuck
wasn't.
yes, it was better than Phantom Menace. It didn't have that little
Phantom Menace at least had the pod race scene and
pod
Darth
racing
Maul.
scene was the only thing that was cool.
And
that little
movie, those two things do not make. And then you got fucking
third one
Attack
was
of the
better.
Clones, which has literally nothing. And the third one had to be better than the second one.
Was.
You can't get worse than the second one. It doesn't make it good. Better doesn't mean good.
one of the better
That-
scenes out of any
We got
of those
-5,
movies.
-10, and
When you had that
-8.
robot guy, whatever his name, General Grievance or whatever.
General Grievance.
Was that his name? You guys laugh at me.
Yeah, that's a dope fucking military.
Yeah.
But was that his name?
Grievous.
We got a problem.
Grievance. Okay, sorry.
You know.
But when he had like
This is
6
slowly laying my back.
lightsabers out and he was just like boo 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 boo, that was a cool fucking
That was
scene.
dumb as shit.
That was cool scene.
It was dumb as shit.
That was a better movie.
Fucking midichlorians. This is the trilogy that gave us midichlorians. The Force is something special, but it's not now. It's just like your theta count. It turned it into fucking Scientology.
All right. So what I was still talking about is like they had so much
Is it
hype
trying to
on.
close Corey's?
Yeah, can we get a closing?
Oh, are we closing? Is that
I think so.
closing?
Yep.
Jesus. What was your movie again?
Passion of the Christ. The trilogy.
Oh, what's that?
Died for all three of yours.
It's fine. I should have gone with Die Hard, honestly. But it was.
It's not a
Man,
trilogy.
like, I
There's
know,
like 5
I know.
of them.
Autocorrect did something amazing. Sorry, you'll see it in a minute. Because I meant to correct it, and I was like, Jesus. I was like, wait, Darth Jesus.
Didn't we already finish this shit?
Go.
Okay, so sass me, woman. The Matrix was so bad because the first one was so good, and then you had those other 2 movies, and the third one just lacked. It was like some people don't even like the second one. I think it's great. I think the second one has a lot of good action, practical moves. The third one was just like people standing in front of a green screen, fighting like tentacle monster.
Saying a point to me.
Really bad CGI. Sucked. And they were trying to like make Neo into Jesus and whatever else. That's all I have in the debate. I don't care. Fuck it. But it
General
is.
Grievance.
It
People
Gen-
around the world, Corey.
General Grievance and
I don't care. Fuck it.
it is actually the worst trilogy that you guys are talking about.
What
It's
is?
worse than you.
You know the worst trilogy you guys aren't talking about? Sam Raimi's
The
Spider-Man
worst.
trilogy.
No,
Mm.
you're wrong.
I
You're wrong.
Those
think
movies suck.
Dude, Chris
No,
wants
the
to be in
first
this so
two are good.
fucking
we
bad.
can't have collusion.
Guy-
You're
guy
not
on the
allowed to talk
outside.
about this
The
unless
worst
you're
trilogy we're not
Talk through
talking
every
about is
goddamn
The
debate. Shut
Hobbit,
the fuck up.
which I think is what you wanted to say.
Yeah, so
So Corey's done.
We asked for someone
Go.
to be on here. You wouldn't be.
so
fair.
as Corey stated,
Like,
for his worst trilogy argument, 2 of his movies
This
are
what we got.
fantastic. Okay, well that movie's out. 2 out of the 3 are great. Hell, I like all 3. I think we all like all 3, but he
I
said
don't like the third.
you're not allowed to
Matrix
talk
movie.
during my closing. He said himself 2 of the movies are great. So that's a bad start for worst trilogy. So down to Star Wars
Prequels.
and Lord of the Rings. Star Wars. That's
Where'd
fucking
Colin
awesome,
go?
dude. That was awesome. Star Wars is one of the most beloved franchises of all times. It gives you tons of characters. It gives you tons of references and costumes, lines around the block, movie ticket sales, fucking sales out the ass of everything, action figures, etc. Star Wars always sells. So, and there's a million Star Wars movies, so to pick on one group of three compared to other Star Wars movies, I don't know where to start on Star Wars movies. I can tell you this, Lord of the Rings, I went with great expectations because one of the first huge novels that I read as a young man was The Hobbit. And I went to Lord of the Rings expecting greatness, and instead I got cheesy backgrounds, and I got very, very long movies, extremely long movies, that put me literally to sleep in the theaters. So, I don't know, to make this argument simple, here's what's up. Let's say I'm scrolling through DirecTV. If I run across The Matrix, I'll certainly watch it. If I run across one of the Star Wars, I'll certainly probably watch it. If I run across Lord of the Rings, I'm skipping that shit. And as far as The Hobbit goes, which is what he's going to say next about it being worse than The Lord of the Rings.
We don't have it next. I think this is.
No, it's me.
Yeah, there's a next.
Okay.
As far as that, I actually enjoyed The Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings. It was a breath of fresh air because it was a little bit newer. The backgrounds got less cheesier. I mean, when you go back and watch these Lord of the Rings movies, it's almost embarrassing. I just keep harping on this, but it's like embarrassing how cheesy the backgrounds are and the different things are. Lord of the Rings puts me to sleep. Star Wars is beloved. Matrix is cool as fuck. Fuck Lord of the Rings trilogy, man. Fuck them. All three of them. Fuck them.
The original trilogy is beloved. The prequel trilogy is not.
Is this the closing?
Yes.
Yes, it's been-
They did a movie called Fanboys, which is about them going to see. They have a dying friend, and they're trying to bust into Lucasfilm Ranch to let their friend see the movie before he dies. And it was being filmed as The Phantom Menace was coming out, and they had two separate endings, one where it's good and one where it's bad, and they went with the ending where it's bad. Their friend is like, I can't tell you about it, and then they go watch it opening night. Like the friend gets to see it, they don't. They go watch it opening night, and they're just like, oh yeah, we didn't want that. And that was the consensus with everyone. It's like Darth Maul, fine, wasted. The coolest part of that trilogy, wasted. Nothing else is good. Literally nothing else is good. The first two aren't watchable. The third one is still a trash fire. It's better, but like I said, better doesn't mean good. It's just like, we saw that and we were like, oh, okay, it wasn't as bad as the second one. The Matrix, the first one is great. It's phenomenal. Objectively. Phenomenal. The Lord of the Rings, the entire trilogy, objectively phenomenal. The first one won several Academy Awards. The second one won several Academy Awards. The third one won every fucking Academy Award. You say the backdrops are bad. They're not. It's filmed on location in New Zealand. Most of the shit you see is actually there. It's not CG'd in or anything. It's a combination of miniatures and fucking on-set filming. Mine is just a CG fucking fuckfest that is outdated and stupid. And The Matrix gave us some great CGI. Bullet time it got overused, but in the fucking Matrix trilogy, it was awesome. Star Wars ruined 3 perfect movies for some people. They had 3 perfect movies, 3 more movies came out, and they liked the 3 perfect movies less. Lord of the Rings, you say you fell asleep, that's subjective. It made as much, if not more, than the Star Wars prequels. People love it. People kept going back for the next one. If you notice, if you look on Box Office Mojo, those go up financially, whereas Star Wars goes down.
Nobody shouldn't talk about Star Wars.
The prequels are the worst trilogy, hands down. Lord of the Rings is the best trilogy, hands down.
It's actually like. I guess
Yeah.
it's my turn though.
No, you win.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay, Corey again. Yeah, you're out. I mean, it's Matrix. I've actually seen the first one. It's actually held my attention. I liked it.
Trophy just to give to you every week.
I don't care. It's fine.
Brian, yeah, if you went with The Hobbit, I probably wouldn't with you because The Hobbit I've not been able to sit through versus Lord of the Rings I've been able to like sit through. I love watching them as a kid. So that means I'm going to have to go with Matt because honestly I hate to be that person. I've still not watched any of those movies because they still don't hold my fucking attention. Yeah. So Matt's going to get the point on that one.
0 to like 2 to 1 or something. Doesn't matter.
Hey, quick question. Do we have a schedule on when the championship will be?
Once somebody gets to 5.
All right. Can I do a quick commercial
5
break
is a
while she's
long
pulling up her
way,
shit?
dude.
Not really.
So people, once
Got a couple months.
once someone gets to 5 movie wins, is that
Yes.
right? They will be going to our championship, where the winner will be going home with this non-copyrighted belt with an M on it.
And we're going to Las Vegas!
Or somewhere.
McAllen, Texas.
This is the movie belt and nothing else.
Yeah, movies.
M for movies.
I've only won.
And then after that, we'll have the sub-genre championships.
Woo, where I shine.
Like,
Like one spot.
video game, TV, wrestling, etc.
See, I was worried whenever the wrestling debate was going on because this was sitting in here. It's like, oh, I bet that's gonna get given away or something.
That's what I thought too.
Next question is what?
Oh yeah, it's the 4th.
Yeah, it's fine. You can get a glass, girl.
Nah.
Jeez.
Oh, it's on my screen.
Hug the bag.
Best movie with an underage
It's
lead.
gonna be a weird
Best
one.
movie
Yeah,
with an
that's
underage lead.
Be a weird one. Guys. Buckle up.
Who wants to start?
Don't be
The
creepy.
next question is best movie with an underage lead.
Who's supposed to start?
Technically Brian, but
I thought it
I'm gonna
was-
let Brian go
Corey
first.
go first last time?
yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, with the Matrix.
Oh yeah.
Because I closed last.
I should actually start just because I'm probably too drunk to finish it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Oh, you got
go.
this, Corey.
I believe in you, Corey.
I'll drink the rest of your wine for you. I do want another drink of that.
You can't handle the wine.
No, I said you.
Are you gonna go or not?
Opening
Alright.
statement. Short.
It's gonna be bad. Taxi Driver.
Okay.
Jodie Foster, that was one of her first roles, and she played an underage horror with a. You laugh, but she was fantastic.
Fantastic underage horror.
You guys laugh, that makes it even worse. Disgruntled Robert De
We
Niro.
literally lost a viewer. I'll show that.
Disgruntled Robert De Niro
Disgruntled.
wants to save this girl. Travis Bickle, all he wants to do, because he's like a Vietnam vet, is like save this girl's life from not being that way. It's not her fault. It's not Jodie Foster's fault. But yeah, she was like 16. So that's what I picked.
Okay, I chose
Opening
The Sixth
statement.
Sense with Haley Joel Osment. It's a great film. He led the way the whole way, which we'll discuss. It also paved his childhood acting career and adult acting career.
I went with Leon the Professional with Natalie Portman, opposite John Reno. John Reno is a hitman, and he is staying at an apartment complex. Natalie Portman's family is murdered in a like cartel hit, and she is out at the time. John Reno pulls her into the apartment he's staying in, and a kind of creepy romance starts to blossom, but Natalie Portman wants to learn the ins and outs of being a hitman like John Reno from John Reno, who is the titular Leon the Professional.
So, debate start?
Yeah.
So,
You remember
yours.
what you said?
You're. Fuck off, Colin. Go to bed.
I need to.
What? Where's your bed?
So, I said go to bed.
Where's your bed, dork?
Go to bed.
I didn't say that. Where's your bed? Alright. For yours.
We're
it's-
so fucking mean. Goddamn. Where's these?
Yeah, eat one. Shut the fuck up and eat them.
Reaper pickles.
Yeah, eat it.
Did
We
y'all
all
eat
ate
'em?
one. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
How
Try
was it?
one. It was for pig. It's good. And
Try
I don't
one.
like spice.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good. Try it.
Since
You're,
Corey's
yours.
gonna...
No.
Okay.
Yours
You're gonna
tries
say
to.
words that pertain to the argument now?
Oh.
Yours tries to, like, she's like a little girl that is like a. She wants in on this being like an assassin and that kind of shit, and John Reno's like, I don't want to do this. I don't.
Right.
He doesn't for the whole thing.
Yeah, I kind of said a bit
But
of
he
that.
shouldn't have. He made her a worse person.
No, he made her a great person by the end of
Did
the
he?
movie. Yes.
How?
She goes off to school. She accepts that she's an orphan.
I think in
And-
some of the director's cuts, it has like her like shooting the person actually.
I mean, there are director's cuts that have.
But would be more accurate of what the
But
director would
if you
want.
go buy the DVD and watch it start to finish, not special features, she
It's not-
plants the tree that
It-
he gave her, that he was
she was kind of
cultivating.
fucking and
And she goes to school. She's like, I'll go to school, but I have to plant this tree, and take care of the tree. And they're like, okay, that's fine. And
with mine, Travis Bickle, which
is a piece of shit.
coined the Mohawk,
Mm.
which is an iconic character.
Sasha Konitsko coined the Mohawk.
Sasha Caniso? I don't know.
KMFDM.
Huh? KMFDM?
Yeah.
Well, that movie came out in like 78. KMFDM was.
Came out in like 68.
I'm not hearing any arguments
I don't
about
think
child actors. That's all I know.
Alright, well, Jodie
Nothing.
Foster was like 14. She played a whore.
The horror,
So
yeah.
we'll go ahead and do it. And Travis Bickle was like this kind of deranged guy from being out of Vietnam. He wasn't really happy with the way that the government was going. He went back with Dukakis. It was Dukakis back then, and I don't know who else was running, wasn't happy with how the election was running. He was a cab driver, obviously, called Taxi Driver. It's a great movie. I'll push that in there. Like, what happened about halfway through the movie is he didn't realize his own. He realized he got back from the war and he was fucked up and he was seeing this shit around and he had to be a taxi driver and he changed his ways and he saw this like 15-year-old Jodie Foster.
Or
She was an actual prostitute being pimped by Harvey Keitel. Great performance though. That was
it's amazing.
Yes.
He's great. I love him.
No, that was one of his first roles. That was one of her first roles.
God, you just
They
give a
were
drunken
really good.
stammer throughout.
What
like
I'm
this
saying,
Me
synopsis.
and Brian have to get some words in before it goes to
there was a fucking
closing.
point though in the movie
Get
that he
to it.
changed over that like he had to save her and kill everybody else in this fucking.
Okay, so Travis Bickle is the protagonist, and Jodie Foster's kind of a human MacGuffin to Travis Bickle. So Jodie Foster is relevant to the story, but not. It could have been anyone.
Here's the
It
thing:
could have been
Jodie
literally-
Couldn't have
Foster
been
is
anyone.
known for her adult acting,
No,
not her
but
child acting.
No,
That's
but
what the question is.
she that's
That's it.
why she has her career is from
That's
that
it.
movie.
That's the argument.
Because you had like a 15-year-old that was doing this shit that they're like, we shouldn't even be able to. Like,
So
put this on
Jodie
screen."
Foster has bad parents.
She
Moving
did a
on.
great job
With-
in that movie.
with Haley
and
Joel
is a great
Osment.
actress.
With Haley Joel Osment, it's like, okay,
You've
say
been
that,
shit for a long time.
but whisper it. Because I'm M. Night Shyamalan.
We're gonna have a twist
And-
at the end of this.
And he probably kept the fucking script, the last page of the script, away from Haley Joel Osment. And so when he finally says it, it is the twist. And
I see dead people. Oh,
Yeah.
spoilers! Sorry.
yeah,
And thank
Um,
you for one of the
and-
most iconic lines ever spoken by a child actor. One of the most iconic.
the-
Okay, one
Give
of
a
the most
line from your
iconic.
movie. Give a line from your movie. Give a line.
All
I
right,
see
one of
dead
the most
people.
iconic
The-
shots is when he's putting the shit in his.
I don't know what that means.
Okay, guys, keep the change. You filthy animal is the most iconic line by a child.
Like where he's
Makes
making the
sense.
gun with like his
Yeah, no.
dresser. No bullshit. And
the,
you looking at me?
the,
He
si-
takes that. But looking at me.
I promise you, I
And that's
see
all
dead
improv.
people
That's-
is all.
it
the,
is,
It's the
improv.
most iconic line of all three of these. That's for
What?
sure.
Bullshit.
No, that's a
um,
fact.
You looking at me?
I see dead
Are you looking at me? Punk?
okay, so
You know, combining
he
those together, it just
literally-
means you're dead.
he literally whispered one line and was remembered for it. Natalie Portman.
Not true.
No. There's nothing iconic about that movie as much as I love
No,
it.
it's good
but,
for two viewings.
I forgot Natalie Portman was even a child actress.
Yeah, she
It's-
was.
It's The Sixth Sense is good for two viewings. One, oh, there's a twist. I'm gonna rewatch it and see if that holds
One
up.
time.
Oh, yeah, it kind of does.
And it's like,
Okay.
Bruce Willis was a good
With-
actor in one movie.
But that has nothing to do with my
'cause
child
he
actor.
whispered.
Right, that's what I mean.
the-
It's like,
Leon the Professional.
No.
Natalie Portman had way more on her plate than Haley Joel Osment or Jodie Foster.
you think so?
Oh God, yeah.
Jodie Foster was like
Jodie Foster
amazing
just
in that
had to
movie.
be. It's like, hey, watch a video of this whore. Now do that.
Wow, that's really fucked up. But no, I mean,
And
that was where her acting
fucking-
career started.
No,
And-
Natalie Portman in this movie had to be heartbroken. She had to be uplifting. She had to be a 13-year-old girl that,
Dude,
and this is gonna,
fucking
that exude sexuality.
Jodie Foster had to be pimped out by like she was
Okay,
supposed
so
to be a 13-year-old girl. She had like emotions.
She had to stand there while some guy pushed her and to.
They didn't even have that. They had like situations that they would have that, but like Robert De Niro was like, "No, I'm gonna save you from this." Like that was the point of that.
See, your argument is
is
Robert De Niro
different.
based.
I know.
Your argument is Haley Joel Osment based.
Yeah, it's about the child
And
actor. It's the question.
I
I get it.
appreciate that.
I do too. I'm sorry.
But I will say
Yeah,
Haley
it's
Joel Osment's performance is inferior to Natalie Portman's performance.
I don't agree with that.
All he had to do was be a kind of creepy, but sometimes creeped out kid. That's not a lot of range
I think,
for a child to do.
I think
They do get creeped out easily. It's like, hey, there's a monster under your bed. Remember that feeling and go with it.
But who acts it better than Haley Joel Osment? It gives me almost chills even thinking about his
I think
performance.
that
He's that
Joey-
good. He's that good.
I think
Fucking Natalie Portman moves you to tears when she goes to kill Gary Oldman, and she just can't. Because she doesn't have it fucking in her. She's not a killer.
That was
She
not a
wants to
good
be
movie.
Leon. She wants to be like Leon, but she doesn't have it in her. And Leon sees that, and Natalie Portman conveys it every step of the way.
I think
And then she gets kidnapped, and Leon ends up dying over it, and she has to be heartbroken
she takes that fucking plant.
because her fucking
It's that
the
fucking
love
plant.
of her life died. She's a 13-year-old girl who has a dead love of her life.
I think that Jodie Foster was like an actual Academy Award winning. She didn't win, but at least a nominee for Taxi Driver back in like '78.
I believe Haley Joel won for his performance
That
in
movie-
Sixth Sense.
He did, I think so.
Can we go into
I think
closing?
Natalie Portman was at least nominated.
No, I don't think she was.
I think we've got one winner on the board. She's ready for closing. Who started here? Corey?
Corey.
All right, go.
I just think that, for one, it's an amazing movie. If you ever watch Taxi Driver, it's an iconic movie. It's great. It actually has a lot of things that, like with the elections and shit these days. Fuck you. It's relevant.
You meant Revelin.
I said revel. You fuck you. Anyway, Jodie Foster though is being like a underage or whatever we're
Whore.
debating about. She played a whore. She did,
She sure did.
but I am pretty sure she got at least the nomination for Best Actress, and that started her career for being a whore. She's not a whore. She's not. Jodie Foster is one of the best actresses.
But a great
But-
war.
But that movie started her career. So this is gonna be bad. You look it up. I didn't mean it like that, but I'm just saying, like, out of your guys, Jodie Foster kicks ass. Do you guys not like Jodie Foster?
It started her career for being a whore.
You said it, I said yeah. I don't know. That didn't start her career though. Her first role was she was like 14. She was a whore in a movie. It started her
I love the
career.
way you say it.
Because she was a great actress though.
She's a whore.
That's all we got out of the argument. Just
Oh my god, have you guys ever seen the movie? I mean, she literally was though.
It doesn't matter if we
She
saw
was
the
fun
movie. You
again.
gotta sell us on it, and you're just not.
But it turned her into like an Academy Award winning
whore.
actress. She's a great actress. God, if Jodie Foster, like
She hates
tweets me or something, I'm gonna be like, dude,
She's like, you wake up tomorrow, she's like, kill yourself.
I'm gonna be like, I'm trying to say that you're an awesome actress because she is.
She's like, it didn't come across.
She
that way."
wasn't like 13 years old or however young she was. Like, that's what I mean.
Alright, I think you're.
Fuck it. I'm gonna lose this regardless. I'm gonna toss this one. I'm sorry, Jodie Foster, that you were in a movie, but it made your career. It did, though. It did. God damn.
This is phenomenal.
It did, though. Nobody wants to admit that it did, but it did.
Okay, so you had the closing credits of 3 movies. Moving on.
It was a great performance. by-
Okay.
Whore.
I didn't say horror. You
You
said it.
wanted to.
A young
Oh.
Jodie Foster
Who go?
playing a
I'll
whore.
go. Shit.
I'm gonna throw the towel. at this
I
point.
look as if the judge was even still here. I didn't even know she was still here.
It doesn't matter
Okay,
anymore.
so yeah, that doesn't matter.
It
You
should.
kind of buried yourself.
Better.
Well, you didn't convey that, man. So Haley Joel Osment versus Natalie Portman, a 13-year-old girl who has to deal with a dead lover, love, being kidnapped, realizing that she doesn't have it in her to be what her idol is, portraying a role that requires more sexuality than any 13-year-old should have to convey on film. But she does it. And then you have, an 8-9-year-old who has to be scared. And I feel like it is much easier for an 8 or 9-year-old to fucking pull that fear out than a 13-year-old to deal with all of that emotion throughout the entire fucking movie. She has moments of triumph. She has moments of defeat. She has moments of self-doubt. She has moments of self-sacrifice, and it all gets conveyed in ways that an adult would struggle with. But she's just this 13-year-old girl that is putting herself in these positions and demonstrating on film what it would actually be like. Whereas you have Haley Joel Osment, who is just terrified. That's all he has to be, is terrified. You can literally terrify a child by telling them there's a monster under the bed.
I'm terrified right now from those red solo cups because red is the.
So anyway, I feel like Natalie Portman just conveys a wider breadth of emotion in her performance than Haley Joel Osment has, not even just in that performance, but is in his entire film career.
You good?
Is this closing argument?
I love this box.
Is this,
It's a trash box.
am I not
Like a
allowed to
fucking
talk
podium,
anymore?
but not.
Is that the thing? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
allowed to talk anymore?
that's a thing.
Alright, okay.
It's actually a thing for the rest of it, because this is the last.
For just.
Oh
like,
no, we got to do a blind or something.
For real anyway, and just like in
Yes.
life.
So
like,
we
I
still
can't
have to
talk
hear
anymore.
Corey.
I still have to close, by the way. So
Okay, I'll try to be quiet.
I'm
There-
sorry, I was just sad. I
That's
had
fine.
to hear Corey some
it's
more.
fine. It's fine. We're just gonna leave Corey out of this one. I'm gonna come with you and my child actor, which is Haley Joel Osment, the greatest child actor of all time, hands down. I'm so excited for this question. There's a reason Matt continued to quote things about Haley Joel because he was scared of the rebuttal that was coming. Haley Joel is the youngest of all of these actors named. And I would argue the best child actor, certainly, of all three named. Now, does that translate into adulthood? I mean, Haley Joel, I believe he was in Stranger Things as an adult. It doesn't really translate because he's kind of a weird adult actor, whereas these two are amazing adult actors, and we know them for their adult career, not their child career. So, that being said, when I think who is the greatest child actor of all time, hands down, Haley Joel Osment. His performance in The Sixth Sense is iconic, all kinds of reasons. Of course, the line, "I see dead people." Everyone knows that line. Everyone knows it. But it's more than just the line in the movie. He actually carries this film. Bruce Willis is in the film. It's an M. Night film. I get it. It's great. But without Haley Joel, it doesn't go over the hump the way that it should. Haley Joel, this was the beginning of an amazing child acting career. He went on to play in Pay It Forward and AI and things like that. And he was amazing. He was amazing in those movies. AI and Pay It Forward. He was amazing. The way that Haley Joel would express his different, which is the question at hand, by the way, child acting. The way that Haley Joel would express crying and emotions and sadness and happiness, it would just wrench your heart. I mean, there are moments in The Sixth Sense and Pay It Forward and AI, etc. There are moments where you're just like, you can't even believe that this child can act this well. He's like a fucking child prodigy. Now, he grew into kind of a weird adult, but again, question at hand is best child actor or actress of all time.
Best movie with a child actor.
Best performance by a.
No, I don't think that's
Yes,
how
best
the
performance.
question was
Best
written.
movie with an underage lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that doesn't. That's why mine is the best. Again, you go with the closing, but
I didn't know that we were allowed to interrupt the closings.
You're
we
not.
didn't mean to, but we did. But we had
I mean,
to
you
actually
asked a
explain the
question, so I answered the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Corey just talked.
Okay,
I
so
entered-
words great actors or actresses, but they're known for their adult performance. This specifically, The Sixth Sense, is specifically all about the child acting of Haley Joel Osment. I mean, anyone that walks away from The Sixth Sense and you're gonna ask the audience, you're gonna poll them something about the movie, something about the acting of the movie, something you remember about the movie, they're immediately gonna go to Haley Joel. That movie is not about Bruce Willis. It's not. I don't even know what the fucking lady's name in the movie is because I don't even know. It's all about Haley Joel and his facial expressions. He was literally a child prodigy in this movie and the beginning of a great child acting career. Like I said with the other movies, hands down, he was the youngest of all of the ones mentioned. When you think of child actor, when you think of the best child actor, you think Haley Joel Osment. He carried the film, The Sixth Sense.
I think whore.
Corey thinks cool.
I think out of all the actresses
It's
that we were talking about, yeah, it's fine.
He is done.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying like Jodie
Sorry, I was just
Foster's
making
the
a joke.
best.
Okay, so again, Corey, I don't really
That's
like
fine.
to mark kids with whores, so like no.
I'm just saying she turned out to be the best.
Matt, you didn't really sell me on it. Like up until like the closing, I was thinking about that one, but then like I don't know, Brian really sold me on the closing of his. Like, yeah, everyone watches that movie and they know that saying, so I'm gonna have to go with Sixth Sense. Just because I feel like all around Brian sold it a lot better. He had like a lot of valid points with it, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Brian on that point.
Little commentary. One thing you could have mentioned is how Jodie Foster's performance as a whore was so good that it inspired someone to attempt to kill the President of the United States.
Fine. Fair.
Brittany said something.
Good for her. I think she's been good.
Well, Colin did too. Brittany, on the previous question, said it's so relieving to hear someone say Lord of the Rings is trash. Then she said Too Young to Die, Juliette Lewis. Colin said I say Beetlejuice. And Brittany said Brian deserves an acting award for Googling best child actor before the question and then saying Haley Joel Osment was the most memorable child actor ever.
That's a good burn.
Well, guess what, Brittany? Plot twist. I wrote that question that was then drawn by the judge, and I wrote that question with Haley Joel in mind. I wanted someone to pick that question. Last time I judged, they didn't, and now I picked it myself, and I fucking won it, bitch.
I still say. I argued that better.
You did.
I'll be honest, dude. I really don't think that you did. That's my honest opinion. Seriously. I just think Haley Joel is unbeatable. Like, what a fucking, like, iconic child actor.
honestly-
You guys aren't into Haley Joel. You've said
No,
that
no,
multiple
I like-
times.
I
Both
love
of
that
you have
movie.
shit on AI
I
and
literally
Sixth Sense.
think
No, he has.
a fucking child being scared and a child being torn over making their dead love die are two completely different things of acting.
Well, that's just the hands given at the director, but like the expressions of Haley Joel are just like unbelievable. I mean, maybe I could have even went with one of his other ones, like Pay It Forward or something. I mean, I don't know. He's just fucking amazing child actor.
I
He's like
think
a little
Jodie
prodigy.
Foster was better, honestly.
The whore.
If you want to call it that, yeah,
Well, you did.
you're calling it. She was in that movie, but yeah, that was Jodie Foster is a great actress. Better than either of your
So-
two.
So we're on to speed round.
Are we doing a blind?
I'm not
So
doing
there-
shit now. I'm out.
Do you, I mean,
We usually
it's a
just
tie
give the
between you
score
and
for the
Brian.
blind.
Okay.
You'd still be in the blind. You want to just draw another question?
Yeah. Well, Colin, was there one that you wanted to
Yep.
do?
All right, so guest judge time. I've got a question for y'all.
Is this for real or not? Oh, it's like
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba.
a puppet on strings.
Yes.
What's happening?
Oh, speaking of puppet on strings, that's the question. What movie would be better remade with Muppets? And who would play who?
I love
Really?
this.
That was the question? Like I just said.
I
it?
love this.
Yeah, not gonna lie, that's what I was planning.
I like
Am I
this.
allowed to get
Wow.
in
You already
this,
allowed
or-
it.
Yeah,
too.
you're in it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Transformers.
Listen,
Puppets.
no,
With
not puppet, not with puppets.
Muppets.
With the actual canon Muppets. Kermit and the gang.
Okay, I'll change it then.
All right, y'all have time. Whoever answers first has to
Can you
explain
do the
last.
Can you do the timer?
No, this is like an actual round.
okay.
Yeah, an actual
Oh,
round
okay.
since there's still 3.
A movie? What?
What movie is most improved by
This
Muppets?
is bullshit, dude.
Yeah.
Oh God, Under Siege, Dark Territory.
What?
With
Showgirls.
why are you?
All right.
So
I don't know that movie. What?
Are
why
you
do you have
judging
to
this
be
one
that
too?
young?
I will judge
Do you
it,
know
yes.
that movie because you laugh?
Can you
like,
see me?
You have
All
to.
right.
Like
Yeah.
it's Steven Seagal and he's on the train. That'd be great with Muppets. That's what we're doing right now, right?
I mean, if
We're
you
doing
can sell it to me, even though I've
We're
never
doing
seen it.
Muppets
Yeah,
right now.
Muppets.
Like the actual Muppets.
The
You have
actual
to be
Muppets.
Kermit the Frog and
Kermit and Miss Piggy and all
Okay.
them fuckers. Yeah.
oh my God, I wish I had more whiskey. But
Oh,
we
and
did
with
drink
that,
it all, Brian.
You don't have to do the whole cast, but tell me like what Muppets would play like what main titular characters in your movies and why it works.
All right.
Can we describe a Muppet if we don't know their name?
Yeah, and I can help.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like without looking up characters from like movies that I'm thinking of and shit, it's gonna be tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be tough. Lots of Muppets, lots of
of Muppets.
characters, and movies.
Do I have time to go piss or?
I mean, yeah, everyone's like just thinking.
This
So
is weird.
No, I'm saying
I
Showgirls.
already have.
Showgirls.
I'm still going with Under Siege, Dark Territory.
All right, sell it to me, Brian.
I'll try.
Chet.
Don't, dude. I said that earlier. You weren't around. I said I'm still pissed at Colin for that.
Look, Chet is just the diet Chad. It's all right.
What's the latest? That latest Disney flick with it was the Hawaiian Moana. That's my answer.
We doing Moana with Muppets.
That's right.
All right. Whenever Corey is done talking, followed by pissing.
I'm gonna pee and
All right. Brief commercial break with no commercials. So.
Colin makes the commercials. Let's go, Colin.
What brand do I want to sell today?
This.
Botobox.
I'm gonna.
So this movie from the
I'm gonna
70s.
step outside and make a phone call.
Here you go, Bustelo.
Butterbox. Boom, 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 boom. Bustelo.
Better not be phoning a friend.
Ain't millionaire, motherfucker.
Bon and Viv. Everything would be.
Bon and Viv. Boom, boom, boom. Batman.
Oh.
Boom, boom, boom. Oh, sorry, I didn't. Is it okay?
Yeah, you should be fine.
Yeah, no dents.
Oh, why it's here.
You got that on camera, folks.
Boda.
Yeah, there's your commercial break. for
Yep.
Botobox.
Straight from the Bucks. Okay, it's not half bad.
There's a reason it doesn't have cups with it. It's because you're supposed to do that.
It's not very good warm.
Guzzling the Boda.
Buzzling the Boda.
Buzzling the Boda.
I don't know if I can do this fucking Under Siege in Dark Territory.
Then maybe
I
find a
think I
better
can-
movie.
Well, you said do it with Muppets,
Uh-huh.
right?
Muppets,
Yeah.
Bob.
So I think I can. Have you
Okay.
ever seen it?
No, I've never seen Under Siege in Dark Territory. Don't even know what it is.
Corey. We advertise.
Butterbox, send us money. We want to advertise you on here.
Boda.
Boda!
It'll make sense in some scenes.
Well, I would never know those scenes. I'm just letting you know, like, you choose whatever you want, and if you can sell it to me, great. It's just chances are less.
Why have you never seen anything Steven Seagal?
I've seen a couple things, just not Under Siege Dark Territory.
I think that's what it's called. What? Oh God.
Under Territory Dark Siege? Under Barry Bowie
Under
Dark Siege?
Siege, Dark Territory, I believe. The second one. Steven Seagal movies. He chops people in the neck.
Beef and
Wouldn't that be
Begal.
hilarious, Muppets?
Beef and Begal.
Do you see what I mean?
You
I
what?
said Steven Seagal.
Yeah, Beef and Begal. Sorry.
Steven Beagal. I think that's what it's called, though.
Well,
Alright, is he pissing as well?
no, he's just making a phone call.
I wish I knew.
Um,
I wish I was into animation, because I'd love to do, like, animated skits during piss breaks for our shit. It'd be fun.
Chris might be able to.
Do animated things? I can voice act.
So
I
I,
can do
I
a
made
lot
a
of shit,
couple
but I don't want
jokes earlier about being near the border.
Oh.
We're live now.
I mean that was literally a joke about being at the border. I was in McAllen for 2 weeks. It's a great fucking town.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Nice.
good food. Everyone there's nice. The site for our company, they have a shift coordinator that is fucking holding it down.
Is the facility nicer?
Nicer than the old side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, shout out to to that crew if they end up watching this. I gave them.
Apt Associates Texas.
We might get some new viewers, right?
Yeah, I gave some people a link while I was there.
Hey guys.
But yeah, it's a good little town. I would go back in a heartbeat.
Well, that's Matt saying he's moving to Texas and he won't be on the show anymore.
You don't like it hot though.
What?
No, I do.
You said you didn't for a while.
No, I literally said I expected it to be a drier heat
But it's
based on
humid.
everything I've heard. But where it's right by the Gulf,
Humid as fuck.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
it's
like Florida.
Yeah, I feel like Nevada and New Mexico is where the real dry heat
in
comes
Arizona.
in. Arizona, yeah. Arid zone. That's pretty much sums up Arizona.
But yeah, it's like 5 degrees hotter, but it feels about 20 degrees hotter.
I remember you saying your phone kept overheating when you
Oh,
were just
yeah.
walking on the street.
Yeah, I like couldn't play Pokemon Go in the day. I still managed to get everybody a fucking Heracross though.
Shout out Pokemon Go, sponsor us! Alright,
No, they won't.
I know.
We cuss too much and drink a lot.
Oh fuck me.
Thanks for enforcing it.
Like, if we're getting funded on YouTube, we're not. So we got speed. Stop it!
Buddha box.
I only have 2 more of those in my house.
Buddha box.
Oh, you chose
I don't
Moana.
care.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Moana.
God damn, what did I choose? I'm still looking this shit
You
up.
chose Under Siege Dark Territory.
I know. I'm trying to find it again. That was the one they were on a train. This is gonna be bad, but I think it would be hilarious with Muppets, right? That's
With Muppets. Alright, so whoever has the gusto start first.
Okay, so Showgirls, Miss Piggy is obviously Elizabeth Hurley's character.
Okay.
The female in the band, she has the long blonde hair.
I know her, yeah. She has the eyes that don't open. Yeah.
She looks exactly like Gina Gershon. She's Gina Gershon.
Gotcha.
And Kermit is the director guy. You know, the dude that Elizabeth Hurley fucks in the bath, or not the bathtub, the pool.
Okay.
You have it's a little dark, I'll say.
A little dark for the Muppet Gang.
Yeah. But it's what movie is better improved by the Muppets, not
Yes.
what movie would be remade with Muppets.
Right.
So, I feel like having Kermit and Miss Piggy have that thrashing around pool scene, the sex scene, it actually makes sense now.
oh god,
Yeah.
oh god.
You have Miss Piggy dancing on stage, and Gina Gershon, like Thick is in now,
Yeah. Okay.
and Gina Gershon's kind of wafy.
Mm-hmm.
So she's jealous of Miss Piggy's thickness because she's clearly going to upstage her
Yep.
in this day and age. You have Kermit.
So does this take place in modern day instead of the day in which?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a little modernized. There's cell phones. There's
Just cell phones and. Huh. Okay. Would they even call themselves showgirls in modern day?
yeah, there's still showgirls in modern day.
Oh, okay. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
It's like off Broadway shit. But yeah, Miss Piggy dreams of being a star. It's already within her character. She moves to Vegas, meets Kermit, gets inducted into the troupe, and it's her.
You
her-
got real chops, baby.
her successes and her having to. I mean, Miss Piggy is known to drop chandeliers on people. That happens in Showgirls. She's known to sabotage stage acts for her own stardom. That happens in Showgirls. Elizabeth Berkley's character in Showgirls is essentially Miss Piggy. It just makes so much sense to take that movie and recast it with the Muppets. The band that plays would obviously be... God, I'm blanking. I can't believe I'm blanking on this. Fucking Rayner mashed them up with...
It's the Something and the Something band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like Animal and the girl you were talking about.
The girl,
and
she would obviously be out of the band because she has a bigger role. In
yeah,
the band.
and the guy with the big teeth and the hat. Yeah.
I think his name is Teeth.
And
Teeth. Yeah.
The
I mean, I
date
think it
rapist will obviously be Beaker, the guy who date rapes the girl. That's Beaker. He concocts it. You know, there's like a whole fucking scene of him making the Rohypnol himself.
Good.
Oh my god, this shit has gone
It's-
so off the rails.
It's perfect. It is perfect.
What was your... What's the question? Muppets doing like another...
Yours was Under Siege Dark Territory.
No,
Oh,
I
by
got
the
it.
way, it was Dr. Teeth and the Electric Man.
Dr. Teeth
Dr.
and
Teeth.
the
I
Electric
told
Man.
you it was Teeth. Like Dr. Teeth.
Yeah, the dude with the teeth is Dr. Teeth.
Yeah, okay, so
And the rest of them are the Electric Mayhem.
what's the question again?
Can you walk a straight line?
Officer, you're an officer. Show me your badge.
Awesome.
Show me your butthole.
Can
Are
you
you a
walk
cop?
the
Show me your
line,
butthole.
Joker?
You
Show me
you
your
got the
badge.
non-cop tattoo. I gotcha.
Anyway,
Do you really need the question again?
yeah, kind of.
All right. What movie would be made better by recasting with just Muppets? Central.
Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Okay.
The entire thing takes place on a plane, a train, not a plane. It's a train.
Sure, it's not a submarine.
Automobiles.
That's the first one.
All right. The first one was a boat.
Submarine.
Yeah.
Under Siege.
Anyway,
It
the
was a good
second
one.
one is a train. It was a better movie. It's got a lot of explosions. You have the Muppets, and what would be kind of hilarious
Keep going.
as the Muppets, as how bad all of the actors were. I'm looking through this and like looking through the characters. Steven Seagal has to actually be in it. So I know you said replaced all the characters,
Okay.
but
Well,
but
I
when,
will
when you
allow-
get to the action
I sh-
scenes,
I
like,
should have mentioned a small thing. I will allow one human.
okay, so
Sorry,
it's Steven
but-
Seagal.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray as.
No. You can't interject what characters come
Well, I
into
didn't know this fucking fact.
I know. Okay.
Because just about every Muppet movie has one human insert. So-
Yeah.
So it's Steven Seagal on a train, and all of the other characters that are doing like badass terrorist shit. And then at the end, when Steven Seagal is like beating the fuck out of them, like throwing knives,
Who's he beating up?
Muppets, all
Whoa,
of
which
them.
which? I don't know the premise of this movie, so
Okay,
let's see,
okay,
you tell me
okay.
like
So
who's
you,
attacking him when are
you
their
have like this.
characteristics?
Okay, so the premise of the movie is they're on a train, which doesn't make any sense anyway. But this like nerdy guy has
Who plays the nerdy guy?
this dude that kind of looks like the dog character from Muppet Babies,
Ralph?
Ralph. He kind of
Rolf.
looks like Ralph.
Yeah, Rolf.
Rolf. Okay, so
No,
anyway,
Yeah, Rolf the dog.
that's fine. So he's on the computer, and they've got this technology where they have a satellite in space where they can
satellite in space.
they can pinpoint any like city, car, person, whatever they want to with this satellite and laser beam and kill them. This is the premise of this Steven Seagal movie. It is. And it's an awesome movie. And he goes from car to car, from the trains, all of them, like the different cars. He's a cook, too. Motherfucker. Steven Seagal is a chef. He's an army chef. So he's beating ass all the way through with like just kitchen knives and shit. But he throws them. He's like, it's like Kermit the Frog. Fuck you. And it's like Miss Piggy's down there like,
Hey, fuck you too, buddy.
This is basically what the actual movie is. You've never seen it, so I'm explaining it to you.
I'll need the whole thing because we only have, time
They do have
to
the Rob Zombie was in the soundtrack. And they had that scream, that iconic scream, the "Bow!" like
The Wilhelm scream.
yeah, sure.
Wait, is it that Star Wars one?
They toss this guy out. There was one scene where they were like fucking. That could be like Miss Piggy and Kermit banging. Maybe it'd be weird, but in the movie, I think Steven Seagal throws both of those people out of the train
Okay.
over a bridge. So he's gonna be the only one that can do this movie again.
Okay.
But that would be so much better than the actual original one that I grew up with. Like if he was just throwing Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy out, like stabbing people, and like instead of like weird guts coming out, like when he's
It's just someone's hand bleeding.
or like snap, like it'd be funny with a fucking puppet, just be like snap, animal. There was this one guy that was like a fucking just a crazy person with the terrorists that were trying to like zap whatever else with the laser from the satellite. And there's this scene that Steven Seagal does just snap his head like he always did. It'd be funny if it was just like animal. Like he'd just be like, ah! Like Steven Seagal, or just chopped him in the back of the head, like, and then he died. Like that's what he always did. It was great.
Right.
But as Muppets in like a train, it actually it actually did make a claustrophobic like kind of thing, like being in a train, like you don't know where you're gonna go.
You thought
And-
the Lord of the Rings was boring.
I think Under Siege 2 in Muppet territory would be one of the most hilarious movies that I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Steven Seagal beating up Muppets. And like he stabs them and
I feel like Steven
just-
Seagal has worked with the Muppets at some point or another.
I
History.
don't know.
Okay. But, Brian,
Okay,
before
so
he starts talking.
I'm sorry, before you go,
Yeah.
I didn't get to insert my.
Oh yeah, insert your human. Sorry.
Bill Murray is her cabbie friend.
Oh, okay. The one that drives her around?
Yeah.
Okay. That actually works really well. Alright.
So I went with Moana for a few reasons.
You're welcome.
For a few reasons. Because what do the Muppets love to do? They love to fucking sing throughout their movies. And guess what you get with Moana? Songs throughout the movie. We're talking about what movie could best be replaced by Muppets. Showgirls.
It would be weird.
That's the creepiest thing I've ever heard of.
Yes.
It's the creep level is like times 10,000, as a matter of fact. I mean, you're talking about a movie
Well-
that's
Introduce your thing, and then you all fight amongst each other.
Oh.
okay. The introduction, Moana replaced by Muppets.
What? But like, who is what? That's what I want to know. Like, paint a picture for me.
Okay, the picture, the fucking dude in Moana that was played by The Rock. That's still The Rock. He's still the human in it because
Okay, we're talking live action Dwayne the Rock Johnson with these Muppets.
Yes, that's
the
right.
human insert.
that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Because there's no better insert for that character. So, the rest are replaced by Muppets, which is easy because it's a cartoon cast. I mean, down to that fucking retarded chicken that just pecks its beak into the ground. That's easily replaced by a Muppet
say
like
that word.
Beaker.
You really can. We're gonna
Chris
get
isn't here to
demonetized.
say that, so
We're gonna get
Can't say that
demonetized.
word.
It's a hard R, man.
Damn.
every
Co-
time.
Corey is calling you out on political correctness. All right.
Anyway.
So now that we're in
Back to the
Backwardsville,
show.
Like, tell me why this is the best Stephen King movie. Sorry, but
fuck.
no.
All the my shit.
All right, well, if that's all, yeah, fight each other. Go.
I feel like you're just doing Moana again. It adding the Muppets brings nothing. It's already a fucking CG.
I don't know where Sarah went.
It, it's
You have to
already
text
a
her.
CG spectacle. It's great.
What are
Now-
you guys picks? Why am I
Moana,
even in
the
this?
cartoon, and Showgirls, the stripper movie.
With
Nothing,
Muppets.
With
Nothing-
goddamn Muppets.
nothing is added with Moana. It is a fucking beloved movie.
Is it? I haven't
Yeah,
seen
it is. It is Disney back in their prime.
It's beloved by children, and guess what else is beloved by children? Muppets. Guess what's not beloved by children? Fucking strippers in Vegas.
Guess
No,
what would be
it is.
hilarious
What movie
is Steven
is
Seagal
most
gunning fucking
improved?
Muppets.
Yeah, that's freaky.
It,
That's some
Show-
real freaky shit.
it would
If
be
going
you
on.
insert the
hilarious.
Muppets into Showgirls, it actually makes sense.
You're literally fucking
That would-
Muppets.
It literally makes sense.
How does a
though.
Muppet even fuck? That doesn't make any sense to me. Do
That
Muppets have dicks?
makes the pool scene make fucking sense.
do you think like
It all comes together
You would see,
if they're
like-
Muppets.
You would see like
Steven
Kermit.
Seagal
sure they do.
kicking somebody out of a fucking train, a Muppet, would be hilarious.
You would see Kermit strings and
Not
everybody
Kermit.
strings in the sex scene. It's bizarre. It would make it awkward. If you saw their strings in Moana, you'd be
it
like, "Oh,
is-
it's a children's flick." That's
It
fine.
is literally less bizarre and awkward than what is in Showgirls.
No, seeing Miss Piggy dance a pole would be horrifying.
They don't
It
pole.
would, it
Do
would
you
be,
know what Showgirls is? They don't pole dance. They're like off Broadway.
I've seen enough. There's titties in it.
It's not striptease.
I'm just saying, like it
There's
seems
musical numbers.
it seems more funny to me
as
to
you
see
hinted at,
Steven Seagal
there's-
to snap like a Muppet's neck than see Miss Piggy pole dance.
They don't pole dance, Corey. They're fucking Showgirls. They
There's
do
this-
like the
Okay,
kicks.
okay,
There's
okay.
a
like
couple
the
very
cantina
strict scenes with
dancing.
nipples. Explain nipples in Muppet World.
That's
Explain.
fine. Like, okay, that's fine.
They don't
I'll-
have
I'll
nipples.
re-
They're Muppets.
I'll rephrase it. I'll rephrase it.
Weird.
I would rather see Steven Seagal stab somebody in the back of the head or shoot somebody than I would rather see Miss Piggy's nipple.
I actually have to agree with
She
Corey on this
doesn't
one. I
have
would
a
rather see the
fucking
Muppets be
nipple.
gutted than
Wouldn't it be funny as hell?
nipple Muppets.
It's just pink.
Nipple Muppets.
It's a strange choice. For
I don't.
Muppets.
I want to see like dancing Muppets. If they're on the
It might
if
be
they're on the
the
train,
unconventional pick, but it's the right pick.
if they're on the train and
What kind of
Steven
freaky
Seagal is
theater
just
is
going
this
back
where
there and just beating the
Muppets
shit
are
out of
strip
them.
teasing on stage. It's bizarre.
They're not strip teasing.
What do they do in the movie?
They fucking dance.
Oh, the classic argument.
What is your movie again?
There are.
Oh my god.
The point is, Matt's movie involves
It is a terrible
and
idea with
Muppets
Muppets.
don't even have them.
Mine actually would be at least comical. Like it would be like Muppets
That would be
for
comical.
with fucking Under Siege.
They come out
Under
in
Siege.
sheer dresses and they can.
But that's
and-
gross. Gross. Like nobody wants to see that shit. Like, it would be way more funny to see Steven Seagal like just rip through a bunch of fucking Muppets and like stuffing goes everywhere instead of blood. You can make that PG-13 actually.
You can make this PG-13.
No, I don't think you could. I don't think you could.
You can.
I don't think you
They
could.
don't have nipples.
They have soft nipples like.
They don't
but
have
still.
nipples.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think if I had a child,
One of the
which
major
I'm never
plots.
going to,
One of the major plots of Showgirls revolves around
it being shitty.
sexual relations Do Muppets fuck? I don't even know if they fuck. I don't know.
That's why mine is
Miss
superior.
Piggy
Where did
is
Baby Muppets come from?
constantly trying to fuck
No.
Kermit.
She is. She is.
So Muppets fuck.
They can't though. A frog cannot fuck a pig. Like, it's not.
A
It's
frog
not
can't
able.
fuck a pig.
But a
A
puppet,
frog Muppet can fuck a pig Muppet.
That's
a
why.
puppet can fuck a puppet.
That's
Doesn't
why.
matter what.
That's why Steven Seagal going through a fucking train with a chef's knife and killing all of the Muppets like that are in there would be the most entertaining, hilarious movie.
I'm gonna say this. The reason I'm taking so much flack for this is because you all are jealous that you did not think of it.
Oh,
It is.
no,
It's
it's
brilliant.
awful.
It's brilliant. This
Which
is my
one?
best pitch ever.
Which one would you like to watch? Would you like to watch Miss Piggy on a pole, or would you like to watch Steven Seagal
Okay.
gutting Muppets?
Okay. So,
All right.
Showgirls was created as fucking satire by Paul
You might have
Verhoeven.
to
For
hold that
courtesy,
thought.
I actually put on a 5-minute timer for you all to argue.
Oh.
Roll this into your closing.
Okay. Showgirls was created by Paul Verhoeven, who is known for his satire. Showgirls fell flat. It flopped because no one understood the satire of it because it was fucking people. You turn it into Muppets and you have your satire now. It makes the entire movie make sense. It is taking the worst movie among the three, fucking objectively the worst movie among the three, and making it watchable, if not great. With Moana is going to forever be a classic. You have The Rock, you have Hawaiian Legends, you have all these great things. It is a culture that is dying out represented, and to undercut that by adding Muppets is kind of a travesty. And with Under Siege Dark Territory, you have said it's a great movie in and of itself.
The best Steven Seagal movie.
It's the best Steven Seagal movie. A man who has made some good movies, some terrible movies, but also some good movies.
No.
And that is the best among his good movies. Why would you destroy that? Fucking Paul Verhoeven fell off his rocker when he made Showgirls, and this actually takes the premise he had in mind, satirizes the culture, and also Showgirls was a Fox property. Disney owns the Muppets. Disney owns Fox. Completely doable.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
All right. So I still think that. Shut your fucking ass.
I can't wait for it. I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't wait.
All right, what movie would you watch? I guess because if they came out with a Muppet movie where it was Steven Seagal beating the fuck out of Muppets, I'd watch that more than Showgirls with the Muppets. Steven Seagal, as a guy, he's a chef on a train. He's walking around with butcher knives, guns, and he is just blowing through Muppets. Like, throwing them out the train. I would rather watch that than his fuck... What was yours, Brian?
Corey, this is
You're in your closing.
No,
Just
but that,
finish
this
your
is,
closing.
This is my closing.
It was Moana. Finish your closing.
That'd be more... My closing is, which one would be more hilarious to watch? Like, Steven Seagal just gutting fucking Muppets on a train with a laser... Like, a laser satellite. I'm just saying. I'm paying this to the judge. I think you're the judge now. I don't know. I don't care. But
I know it's a
to
confusing
any
time
of
right
us-
now.
To any of us.
Corey. His family's
Like,
going through a lot of changes.
if he'd break like somebody's neck and throw them out the train. Like, wouldn't that be hilarious though? We're gonna put that on a meme on the channel tomorrow. Somebody's gonna do it. Like, just throwing like a dirtbag Muppet out the car window.
Whoa.
I'm just saying.
What you got
Like,
against the
Steven
Muppets
Seagal
there,
is like,
buddy?
motherfucker, and then just like
Motherfucker.
the old school like snap. You can't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. It was great.
Man, I
back
wish
in
I
the
had
day.
a really bad
That's
tattoo
it.
of Kermit giving you the finger, because I'd totally just show it to you right now.
I wish I had a really bad tattoo on my ass of Steven Seagal giving you the finger, because that would be the best movie, the most entertaining movie. And
Your ass tattoo being... Okay, can just
Yeah.
finish the closing.
Out of these two movies, I would watch mine. Like Steven Seagal
Okay.
beating up Muppets on
Okay.
a train. Better.
All right.
Better.
Brian?
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I met you once.
We
was
know
like,
each
or
other.
you're sliding
over there.
We're 7.
I'm Colin.
You were here once upon a time when I came to Sarah's.
This is Sarah. This is Sarah's sister,
Oh,
is.
okay.
but we don't know where Sarah is.
She might be
Dad.
asleep. Maybe.
No, I think she's.
I mean, I think Chris is here, which I mean...
She poked through like 10 times earlier, and now
And she
you're
was in
here and she's
pajama
not.
clothes, so...
It happens. It's a sleeping night. I can't wait to go home and go to bed.
Well, if Chris and
Yeah.
Sarah are missing, I wonder what they could be doing.
Let's not go
Something
there
that
right now.
Muppets don't do, which is fuck.
Oh.
AKA the movie Showgirls.
They are arm wrestling like they would in the Muppets. Alright, so
Listen,
Brian, what do you got?
it was entertaining listening to Matt's pitch about Muppets stripping and fucking and going through life in this dramatic fashion.
Was it?
It was entertaining. It was. But I have to agree with Corey. I would actually rather see Muppets being shredded and tossed off of a moving train more than I would rather see Miss Piggy's Miss Nipples. So, that being said, I think Showgirls featuring the Muppets is a super creepy idea. And if we're trying to gear something with Muppets, let's gear it towards what it's already geared towards, which is children. Let's go with Moana. Let's keep The Rock where he's at as his main character. He's the savior of the movie. And let's reboot Moana. And let's use the goofy Muppets to be the goofy fucking chicken that pounds his beak into the sand. And let's use Miss Piggy as the heroine of the movie that already exists in Moana. She can be the princess of the movie because that's what everybody loves, and they want to see Miss Piggy in her fucking Hawaiian gear, in her fucking hula fucking outfit. I don't even know if that's what it's called. Anyways, so what do Muppets love to do? They love to sing. That's what they do in Moana. They sing songs. Muppets sing songs. This all fits much better, clearly, than Muppets just taking off their clothes in a dramatic fashion about betrayal or fucking gut shredding. They're Muppets. They're puppets. They're for children. Let's sing songs with them. Let's go on an island adventure with them. Let's see Miss Piggy become bigger than she could ever imagine. An inspiring story where a piglet becomes a pig princess. I tried to combine the two words, it didn't work. Anyways, let's see this
Pigstress.
story. A pig stress. Let's see this story as opposed to ripping guts or stripping
Stuffy.
stripping butts. Moana featuring the Muppets.
Okay.
Beaker is the fucking chicken that pounds its face.
Thank you for clarifying it. You said beak twice. I was like, singing like Beaker.
Fozzie the Bear could be one of the fucking fat Hawaiians, and
It's already racist.
Gonzo's one of the jealous fucking skinnier dorky Hawaiians that wants Miss Piggy, but he can't have her because The Rock has her heart because he's the fucking man and he's shredded with tattoos. And what's a piggy to do?
Why don't you just play The Rock?
It's fun.
All right. So,
I still think out of any of these two movies, I'm sorry, mine would be the most entertaining.
Okay.
To watch.
Thank you, Corey.
All right, well, here we go. You very much stressed the point, and I agree with you. This would be an
Steven Seagal.
entertaining skit, but 90 minutes would be a bit much for. Oh, I'm bleeding everywhere. But
It's just stuffy.
Matt pointed
They
out.
made it a PG movie.
Matt pointed out a very important thing, which was the nature of the question: what movie would be better improved by replacing the cast with Muppets?
I still think it's fucking terrible.
But you already said that was Steven Seagal's best movie.
Probably.
And you also pointed out that Moana was a groundbreaking success. It was a great Disney movie. Matt picked the only really bad movie and made it sound like a good movie because I'm imagining these Muppets doing this shit. And I'm just like, holy fuck, I would watch this. This is great.
Imagine tuning into this channel and being like, wow, the guy that just fucked the Muppets is about to win this question. He sexualized the Muppets in a
Okay.
pool scene.
Okay.
Pool fucks.
I'm just saying,
I'm also
if the
just saying,
question...
like, that
What kind of sick
bad-
fuck are you, man?
Bad movie. Like,
Where'd you come from tonight? A bad place, probably.
Hey, who's the judge? Alright, listen.
Texas.
If the question was like, what movie could be remade well with Muppets, it would just be The Princess Bride. Anyways,
Under Siege 2 Dogs.
Matt got a solid cut on both of y'all. Matt wins with Showgirls featuring the Muppets.
I can't believe it. I'm sad that you walked through the door tonight. That's what I feel about you.
Honestly, I am actually a little bit upset because I think I have the most entertaining.
Well,
movie.
you only brought up 1 point 27 times.
I understand, but I'm just saying.
He's a bad sell, but probably throwing Muppets off a train is probably the better answer.
Right, like who would watch? I would not watch yours.
Like,
would not
with
watch
yours,
yours.
I'm just, like, okay.
Mine's just another
I
children's
just kept
movie.
thinking, like, Muppet Treasure Island the whole time, except
I
without
would watch.
pirates.
I would watch Steven Seagal beating the shit out of Muppets all day long. Like that'd be a great movie.
But,
But that's fine.
just to say my curiosity, Steven Seagal Muppets.
I'm just saying, like,
Just to say my curiosity, Muppet titties.
oh
They
God,
don't have nipples.
That's why your movie's bad.
it's still weird.
Okay. I'm creepy for suggesting Showgirls.
Yeah.
But the,
Yes.
Hell
fact,
yeah. Hell
the
yeah.
fact they don't
Yes.
have nipples makes it unwatchable
But-
to you?
They do have nipples. They have buttons, right? They're like. Plus
I can tell you this: when you kept
characters have,
describing the
buttons.
pool sex scene, and me picturing Kermit's happy ass just splashing and
That
fucking.
is comedic gold.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sleep tonight because of that.
I'm
So-
still saying, like,
Can I just say, whenever I Google Steven Seagal Muppets, one of the first things that pops up is a question. Steven Seagal's an alien. Can we all agree on that?
sure, that's fine. I'm just saying, out of all of those, I don't disagree with your pick. I understand why you picked it. But who wants to watch Steven Seagal beat
See,
up
well-
somebody?
Well, you accomplished one thing. I want to watch your actual movie now,
Yeah, I'm not gonna make it.
but no,
Muppets are expensive.
no. I mean, like, I want to watch the actual Steven Seagal movie now, but
Right, in dark territory.
it doesn't sound like Muppets make it better.
It would have, actually.
All right, so back to you, the real judge.
All
Yeah, thank
right,
you.
so
Thank
we
you,
have
fucking coked out
Brian
psychedelic
here
judge.
with 2 points, Matt here with 3 points. We
Zero.
got Corey
I wish I
out,
was
I'm pretty
coked
sure
out,
with
damn.
0. Next question, we go on to speed round. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so we go on to the speed round, and are we drawing out of this cup?
Sure.
And
Sure, so you can think of
should
something
I
wacky off the
draw
top of your
one,
head.
Or
Draw one, yeah.
okay, so I am drawing one,
Will you do the timer, Colin?
Sure.
and
What DVD box set could you best consume within an hour?
I don't
Damn
like
it,
this
coked
one,
out psychedelic
but
judge.
But, like, actually eat it?
best high school sports movie,
Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues.
I'm trying to think high school.
Too. Yeah.
like, because I feel like
You're
the
not in
ones
this.
popping into my
I
head
know.
are middle school.
I mean, you can throw them out there if you want.
D2, the Mighty Ducks.
I was thinking that.
D2 the Mighty Ducks.
I feel like that's high school. I feel like the first one might be middle. But
I'm not, me going against you, I will let that pass. You're probably right. They're probably like freshmen in high school or something. I mean, that's fine by me.
All right, so Matt, you start.
Fine by me.
D2 The Mighty Ducks is one of the few movie sequels that improves on the original. You get the Bash Brothers in the second one. You get the Coach Bombay with the Icelander girl that drives a rift in the team, but they overcome because they trust their coach. As far as sports go, hockey is a great sport for film, and D2 does it better than any
Time.
other.
All right, the movie Varsity Blues is a high school football movie and the best of all time because it shows all of the above: high school relations, sex, partying, the parents' relationships in high school movies or in high school sports, as in them monetizing the sport, the coaches affecting these high school minds and the players, the injuries that happen, and the friendships that prolong throughout the movie. All of this is wrapped into one movie with Varsity Blues. It's the total high school experience.
With D2, it's focused more on the sport and the relationship of the team as opposed to the individuals that make up Varsity Blues. With D2, it is them learning to function as a team with these new members, whereas Varsity Blues, they're all friends and we...
Oh, look at them together. Look at that. Everyone pause. Just look at them
Sisters.
together.
Oh my god! Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Would you look at it?
Just look at it.
Look at it!
Oh my god. Don't look at it.
No, I'm looking at it.
Aww.
Oh, I'm looking at it.
Don't stop.
Are we ready?
You've had a lot of time to think.
I was not thinking. We were all just looking.
Okay, go.
Just look. Sorry.
We're just looking at.
Yeah.
The movie Varsity Blues is also clearly a team sports movie. It takes you through the entire season, the entire sports season. It takes you through injuries where the coach pulls a player into one room just to give him a shot in the knee. It takes you through the relations that happen during the sports, how the quarterback gets the girl, how the town...
That it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to go with Brian on that one. Varsity Blues all the way, but yeah, Varsity Blues sold it better in my opinion.
If you're not going to switch it to score, you don't even have to worry about updating it.
Yeah. What is the current score?
3-3.
3-3.
I feel like I'm still.
3-3.
And pick another.
Yep.
Alright. See what we got here. Corey must have wrote this one.
Oh god.
If it's a bad one, I would
Best
replace it.
zombie movie.
Zombieland.
How do you know I wrote that?
It's the way you crumpled up the fucking paper.
I thought it was the handwriting. I don't think I actually wrote that one though.
I will go with Shaun of the Dead.
Thank
I really don't think that was one of mine. It might have been. I don't know.
The movie Shaun of the Dead is the best zombie movie because it combines the comedy, which is zombies because they're fucking fake and not real, with the quirkiness of a main character that constantly gets pointed out. You've got red on your shirt, Sean. It's an iconic film in the world of zombies. You follow this guy around. I think the movie Shaun of the Dead has more zombies than the movie Zombieland.
Time.
Zombieland has a very quirky main character. He is very idiosyncratic. He shit. But if you want to talk about comedy, you have fucking Bill Murray, you have Woody Harrelson on his A game, and then it has some legitimate fears, like jump scares, shit like that. You actually feel in peril when Tallahassee is about to die.
Time. Ready.
Shaun of the Dead gives you an emotional connection with the zombies that Zombieland doesn't give you. In Zombieland, it's all about you got to just fucking shoot the zombies and kill them. In Shaun of the Dead, there's this emotional connection between the main character.
Zombieland uses its zombies to be the antagonists to focus on the protagonist. It is the relationship in these people in a zombocalypse that drives the film. You have Woody Harrelson, who is one of the most iconic zombie slayers of all time.
Time.
Both movies are zombocalypse. Oh, sorry, am I not going?
No.
Okay. Sorry, Brian. I don't feel like you said enough about it, so I'm gonna have to give the point to Matt. I feel like he had a lot of valid points and he used his time wisely.
Yeah, like using the word zombocalypse instead of
Zombocalypse.
Hey, 15 seconds is on the line.
He made up a word in the beginning that wasn't even a word. He finished with zombocalypse, which we'll accept as a word because it's a cool fucking
I
word.
would have gone with 28 days
Zombocalypse.
later, and I probably would have lost.
I
the
swear to God, I
debate.
almost went with like fucking like I Am Legend because I'm like that's a
No.
better
No,
example.
that's
of-
vampire.
20, kind of, yeah, it was vampire.
Shaun of the Dead
zombie.
is like a
Yeah.
great movie.
It is, but so is 28 Days Later.
So Zombieland.
It is. They're all good. I'm just saying my choice that I would have failed at. I picked good choices, but I don't want to pack them up.
Corey has 0 points now. He sat here for hours. He's 0 points.
He's actually made it go longer.
Have I?
Yes.
How?
But don't get us started on Jodie Foster the Horde child.
All right. Well, I'm sorry that in that movie she was a whore. Are we not allowed to say? How else do you
Oh, we have
explain
some
her character?
social.
She was an actual prostitute.
Brittany said he did say that movie could be improved. Showgirls is awful. Have you ever seen the made-for-TV version? They literally Photoshop shirts onto the girls.
I did see that.
I didn't see that, but that's fucking hilarious, dude.
I always love the TV dubs.
What's
of,
the next
like, when they
question?
take cuss words out.
Pull
of it.
another one.
No.
Let's see here.
Actually,
We
want to stand for a second.
have 2 left. One of the 2 also looks like it's from Corey. Best gunfight.
That might have been mine.
These could also be Matt's.
Christian Bale versus the Clerics in Equilibrium.
I'll go with Tombstone. I'm not familiar with the characters' names enough in this particular moment. Wyatt Earp. Val Kilmer's character. in
You're talking
Tombstone.
about the shootout at the OK Corral.
Yes, in Tombstone. Tombstone is the greatest gunfight because the movie Tombstone revolves around Western gunfighting. It's loosely based on the true story of Wyatt Earp, and everybody knows Val Kilmer's character. It's iconic. It's what made him. Everyone knows I'm Your Huckleberry, and you're waiting. The intensity of the movie, the entire movie is weighing on this moment where they're going to fight as a gunfight. An actual gunfight, an old school Western gunfight where they draw on each other.
The shootout at the OK Corral actually happens at the midpoint in that movie. The actual climax is Doc Holliday in a gun duel with the cowboy leader at the end. With the clerics, you have Christian Bale, who is the master cleric who has revolted against the totalitarian government, and they're trying to take him down, but it is he who ends up overcoming them and taking them all down. It invented Gun Fu.
So again, with I'm Your Huckleberry and Tombstone, everyone knows the movie, knows the line. You're waiting for Doc Holliday for that gunfight. You're waiting for the old school Western duel. You're waiting for the paces. You don't know who's going to win at this moment. There's a protagonist and antagonist. You're pulling for Doc Holliday's character.
You know, show for your pops and ruin.
They landed on here, but it's just
Not
we're in a
worth anything
giant
anymore.
tower. I mean, all right, but time whenever you're ready.
Again, the shootout at the OK Corral is the midpoint of the movie. It is the inciting incident that brings you to the climax. The cleric Gun Fu is in the climax. It is Christian Bale mowing down clerics using Gun Fu. It is him showcasing his prowess.
I'm not actually sure what you're even talking about, to be honest. I would have to fact check what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I'm not saying anything till there's a.
I'm just if she doesn't know what you're talking about either. I'm just saying like I don't even know what you're arguing
I'm
about.
gonna have the best.
I am
answer.
gonna have to give the point to Brian on this one.
That's bullshit.
Alright, so the correct answer was either Heat or Face Off.
Thank you, Corey.
It was. Heat also
Next question.
used real assault rifles and they
So
shot
we're,
a bunch of guns and it is
4
one of
to
the
4?
best gun scenes.
Yep.
And
Next
Face
question.
This is for the money.
John
Face
Woo
There's no real
actually
money.
the first time doing a bullet time before
My phone's about to
Matrix.
die, so we'll see. if-
Best movie to watch on mute.
that was not me.
Showgirls.
Really?
Dude, shut the fuck up.
The
seriously.
Matrix Reloaded.
Matrix Reloaded.
The movie Showgirls.
No, it's me.
Oh, sorry. I got real excited.
The Matrix Reloaded offers some cool visuals with some insane, off-the-wall, batshit dialogue. If you create your own soundtrack to that, put it on mute, have fucking whatever you want to hear going on your stereo, it makes for a better watching experience. The visuals hold up to this day. It's cool action. It has some cool backdrops, some great CGI. It's just everything they're saying is stupid. So just turn on Tool, turn on.
Turn on tool.
One of the issues with the movie Showgirls is her talking. It's the dialogue between the characters. It's the best movie of the two because if you watch the movie Showgirls on mute, you can follow her life from being poor to going into Vegas, becoming a showgirl. You can watch her rise and fall. You can watch all of that on mute. This movie would be bizarre because you wouldn't hear gunfire. You wouldn't hear the fighting sounds. All of the things that come in the fighting and the action would be so bizarre to sit there and watch as opposed to a dramatic scene of this showgirl's rise and fall.
Good to go.
Showgirls is a very dialogue-driven movie, and you miss out on all of that. You miss out on the satire. You miss out on Paul Verhoeven's vision if you mute it. With The Matrix Reloaded, you still have the cool action. You still have the Wachowskis' visuals. You still get their direction.
I get to go one more time, right?
Yeah, 15 seconds.
With The Matrix, I'm not sure I would even understand what the hell is going on with no sound. It's such a confusing movie. You need a little bit of dialogue. Showgirls, you don't need any dialogue. You just see the rise and fall of a character, her facial expressions, take it from there. You got the pull scene, you got the strip scene. It's all good without sound. Matrix, not.
Okay, so again on this one, I'm probably gonna have to go with Brian because I couldn't imagine watching The Matrix on fucking mute and comprehending it from beginning
You
to
can't
end.
comprehend it with the fucking dialogue
I
on.
needed this win, man. Thanks. Needed it.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to
Fuck
go
off.
with Brian on that point because just watching a girl rise to fall, seems more able to on mute. Like I would be able to watch it on mute from beginning to end and actually be like, I understand what happened here. So we're gonna have to go with Showgirl. So
Lots of
we've got
Showgirls answers tonight. Who would have
Brian
fun?
5, Matt 4,
0.
Corey 0.
It's fine.
Corey
All of
lost
us
harder
did.
than
We
Marshall
all
tonight.
did. It wasn't just me.
You lost harder than Marshall
Guys,
today.
Yeah, everybody in the room.
Shit happens.
Woo!
I honestly, I would rather watch. Like,
I'm sore about this one.
if,
Sorry.
Yeah.
no, it's not your fault.
Can I
I'm just
stop?
saying.
Have you ever lost a
Yeah.
movie debate?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I'm just
But
saying, like,
no, the shootout at the OK Corral, that should have been my fucking point.